All right, I think I'm going to try doing it this way, Tommy. Can you hear
What are
me?
you doing?
I'm going to try to use the webcam to capture the audio and just go live on webcam.
Yeah, it's fine. A couple of other folks did that. That Canadian gamer guy, actually, I just called him, and he held the phone up to the microphone. I mean, it didn't look great, but it got the job done.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to send you the new link in Discord so you can put it on the.
Oh shit! It says chat is closed. Oh no! Oh yeah! Shit! Is it possible to turn on the other chat again?
I don't know.
Because people won't know where to go.
I could hop in over
You
there.
can message everyone the new link.
Yeah, you're on right now, by the way, so the people in the new chat can hear you.
Okay.
Can everybody hear Tommy?
Is there a new chat? Yo, there it is. Scheduled for 7 p.m. now. Okay. It just says there's only one person here. Oh wait, I see it. You set something for 7 p.m. Should I be in that one or a different one?
The link that I sent you in Discord.
Both say they're live. Yeah, but that one's closed. Okay, so the first one's closed. And there's one that you set up for 7 p.m. in 16 minutes. But that won't go live until you make that one live.
Hang on 1 second, Tommy. Just give me 1 minute.
Yep.
Okay, they can hear you on the new chat. So everybody, I got everybody there that I can see. Open every box. Swami. Some guy named Jay Smith. So I think
I must be in a different. I don't see anyone. Oh, okay. There you go. Can you hear me, Tommy? Yes. You're supposed to say, Tommy, can you hear me? That's from.
No. I was making sure they could hear you.
No, but you're supposed to. Oh, there's Jeff Barnhouse. Yo, can people hear me now? Hello. This is Tommy. Can everyone hear me? Yes. Open every box, Pete. No, Jeff Barnhouse says. Wait a second, Jeff. How did you know that I was asking a question? Okay, there you go. Atari Creep loud and clear. Great, we got it going. Tony, can they hear you?
Yeah, I believe they can hear me. You guys can hear me, right? Yep, they can hear both of us. Good.
We can hear both of you. Just start, says Coleco Joe.
Maybe we want to give you guys a little more anticipation. We don't want you guys to get it off right away. We want you to really think about how this confrontation is going to go with me and Tommy. We want to give you that little bit of excitement, that build up.
Is that is your webcam pointing to your lung? What is that exactly?
No, that's just my loud mouth. I believe that's probably the audio coming out of yours because I am a very loud person. That right there is the webcam is being blocked because I don't like to be on camera.
He doesn't like to be on camera.
No.
Okay, now I got to ask you the first thing, Tony. Did you spell my name wrong again on purpose?
No, that's because I got big fat fingers and I typed it up wrong.
You spelled my name wrong,
Yeah, I did it.
You did that on purpose.
If you've seen the second tweet, I actually said, oops, I did it again, spelled your name wrong, and then spelled it right.
There you go. All in good fun.
But I think we should just go ahead. Before we start, I want to say that Tommy did not pay me anything. I've been checking my mailbox. There's no Amico. There's no.
Fuck no, I didn't pay you.
So, I mean, since I was going to keep it PG because the Amico crowd is E10, but I guess since Tommy's just going ahead and dropping the F-bomb, fuck it, we're going to go ahead and do it that way. So,
okay. I'll make it PG if you prefer that.
It doesn't matter to me. I was doing it in deference to your audience and potential children or mothers who might see this interview.
Yeah, they're not. No mothers or our potential audience are seeing this interview.
Oh, this
we're only at the retro folks right now.
Oh, you don't know my promotion skills, Tommy. This is going to be everywhere.
Cool.
But anyway,
everywhere. All right.
The first thing I want to say off the bat is, am I talking to Tommy Tallarico, the musician, or am I talking to Tommy Tallarico, the Intellivision CEO, who's going to make official statements in that capacity?
Who do you want to talk to?
I'd like to talk to the CEO, because I know you said on Atari Age that sometimes you have a conversation, and not everything you say is to be taken literally. And I want to make sure that when you say things here, that they are literal. This is official statements and not just you shooting the shit or hyping it up or blowing smoke up my ass.
Great. We'll go with that then.
Cool. All right. So let's get into the target audience. Exactly who are you targeting with this machine?
Well, we're targeting everybody, but initially our go-to-market strategy is for families all over the world. Okay,
but what exactly? Because I heard you mention hyper casuals, moms. Is there anyone in particular that's the main focus?
I should probably say families with young kids. I think they're going to be the ones who are going to be most excited about initially getting Amico to begin with. So that's kind of low-hanging fruit for us.
All right. So those kids, do you think that they have the attention spans and are they the same type of kids that you were growing up? Because kids nowadays, you got internet, you got smartphones, you got TV 24/7. Do you think they're really going to be sitting around wanting to play these type of games?
Well, absolutely. It's interesting, and that's exactly why a lot of the games are designed. We're not trying to create Call of Duty or Red Dead Redemption. It's one of the things that some of the hardcore elitists have against us is they always say, oh, these just look like simple games and simple things that I can find on my cell phone and this and that. You might know some of the studies that are done out there that young parents, one of the most concerning things for those young parents is giving their kids too much alone screen time. And so what we're doing is we're designing 20% of our software lineup on launch is going to be focused to edutainment and kids.
Okay, can I stop you right there, Tommy?
People who are 7 and under.
Tommy, can I stop you? You're talking about,
sure.
You're mentioning edutainment games. Those have never really sold anything. Like people have bought them, but they just sit in the corner. No kids play them. I bought some for my kid when she was little. She's never played it. It just sat there collecting dust. So do you think that's a smart strategy?
So you don't think that parents want to use interactive entertainment to teach their kids how to read and do numbers and stuff?
I think parents do. I don't think the children do. Right. That's the point. The point I'm making is when the kids and the parents are together, sure, they might play it, but when the kid's by itself, she, they're not going to want to play an edutainment game. I think it's going to be something that the parents buy.
Not only do I disagree with you, but we have a lot of market research and focus testing groups that we've done that say the exact opposite.
Exactly. We'll get into the focus testing a little more, but
okay.
So you're saying that all these edutainment games that have been produced over the years that have not sold well.
Give me an example.
Rayman,
give me an example of an edutainment game for the home console.
Rayman Learning with Numbers. You got Rayman. It was like a math. I don't know the exact title, but it was a math game where you would take Rayman around and you would have a problem and you'd have to go either left or right, depending on what the answer was.
And those were for home consoles, right?
Yes, that was
for PlayStation, Xboxes.
Yes, I actually bought that on PlayStation.
Okay, and that's exactly my point, Tony. So you're proving it for me. Is that kids with a PlayStation 4 controller, which is too big for their hands?
Tommy, I bought it on PlayStation 1, not PlayStation 4. This was a PlayStation 1. So the controller was actually a little bit smaller, and there was no complicated. It was a simple left and right. Choose the answer to the math. There was no buttons.
Right.
There was no jumping around.
And how many buttons did that thing have, including the shoulders? Count them for me.
Oh, the controller had a lot, but you didn't actually use any of them.
Right. And kids like touch screens, don't they? The modern day kids, they like phones. That they know the touch screens more, right?
They do, and that's probably why they use them. So what I'm saying.
So if you had a Switch controller on the table right now, and a PlayStation controller, and an Xbox controller, and then an Amico controller, and you ask kids who are 10 and under which one they want to play with, which one do you think they're going to pick?
Oh, the Amico controller, definitely, because it looks like a phone.
Exactly.
Now, if you ask the kids which games do they want to play, Shark, Mario, or Zelda, which game do you think they're going to take?
For a kid 7 and under, they're going to pick Shark every day of the week.
They're going to pick Shark over Roblox. They're going to pick Shark over Mario.
Yep, Roblox starts at 7. So 7 to 9-year-olds are on Roblox and Minecraft. 10 years old, they're on the Switch. By 12 or 13, they're on what's it called there? The Fortnite. And then by the time they're teenagers, they want a PlayStation and an Xbox. But kids 2 to 7, their parents make the decisions for them, not them.
Do you have kids, Tommy?
Nope, don't need to.
I have
to know that information.
I have a child, and I'm going to tell you this. There's a lot of times when the parent will make a decision that the child does not agree with and is not going to use. And there's a lot of times when the child tells you what they want. So if the child is saying, hey, I want Mario, hey, I want the machine that plays Minecraft with all my friends, do you think they're going to be happy getting the Amico instead?
You think a 5-year-old knows about Minecraft and all his 5-year-old friends are playing Minecraft, Tony?
You mean the Minecraft?
Somebody who plays Minecraft.
You mean the Minecraft that is in toy stores that has Minecraft toys, the Minecraft that's everywhere? Yeah. The Minecraft that's on mobile phones? The average age.
What's the average age for somebody who plays Minecraft? I'm asking you a question. What's the average age for somebody who plays Minecraft? Tell me the answer, because I know it.
I don't know it. You tell me, Tommy. I don't know the answer.
It's not 7 years old. It's not 7 and under. There's no kids 7 and under playing. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say there's no kids. The majority of children and kids playing Minecraft are between the ages of 7 and 12 years old. Roblox is the same. And so what we're saying is that the age difference between 2 and 7 and 7 to 10 is a night and day. Completely night and day. And what we found in our market research, and this actually blew me away. I'm not going to lie. I didn't even expect this. But what is amazing is that kids 10 and under, Tony, they actually would love the idea of playing video games with their parents. Now, when you get to be 11, 12 plus, then they start to push the parents away and they're too cool for school and they want to be on Fortnite and all that other stuff. But when you talk about kids 10 and under, the research shows that surprisingly, they'd love to play games with their parents. And the reality is the parents don't want to play Minecraft. The parents don't want to play Roblox. The parents are even find the Switch. The average parent, non-gamer parent, finds the Switch to be too complicated. So that's what we're doing. We're providing something that we feel is different and unique for those parents in that category. There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
No, there's not. But can I want to go back? You said the Switch. You mentioned the Switch. And did you realize that the Switch is actually having a shortage right now due to the coronavirus? People who are non-gamers, people that don't have a system currently, are buying the Switch. The thing that you just told me is too complicated for them. They're actually purchasing it so much that there's shortages, and people are actually raising the prices to obscene levels, and they're selling them.
And Tony, you just told me, I'm going to cut you off now. Tony, you just told me that non-gamers are trying to buy the Switch. How do you know that?
Because
is that your opinion?
No, that's actually a fact.
To back that up?
They did a Medium article on it where there's Switch shortages, and it was actually mentioned on the last.
Switch shortages. There's board game shortages. There's toilet paper shortages. That doesn't mean that non-gamer, casual gamers are going out to buy a Switch. There's zero data on that.
So who's buying the Switches off of eBay and all the auction sites? If the people who already have machines, would they be buying $400 Switches? $400 used
Well, let me
Switches?
ask you this. There's 100 million people who've bought PlayStation 4. Would you consider them hardcore gamers?
Not
Absolutely.
necessarily. No, why?
But there's only 55 million people who've bought a Switch. 55 million people bought a Switch. That means 2% of people in the world who play video games have purchased a Switch.
All right, let's go back just a little bit. You said that the people who bought PlayStation are hardcore gamers. Why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
I don't know. I guess it's pretty obvious.
No, it's not obvious to me, and I don't think it's obvious to a lot of
what?
people because there's a lot of games. There's a lot of games on the PlayStation
You're
that are
asking
not.
me questions and you're not letting me answer because you're talking over to me. So I'd appreciate the respect. You ask me a question and you let me talk. You don't talk over me when I'm trying to answer your question. Now you ask me, why are PlayStation 4 people hardcore gamers? Because of the price of the console, because of the complexity of the controller, because of the complexity of the games on that system, the price of the system, and the online play. That's my answer for you.
So you're saying that me paying for a system for my child to use makes my child a hardcore gamer?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time, Tony. I didn't hear it.
As an adult who has a job, who pays for a PlayStation 4 so my child can use it, that makes my child a hardcore gamer.
How old's your child?
My child currently is 14. But there are other parents who have bought PlayStation, not for themselves, but for their children. So does that make their children, the people using it, not the people who purchased it, but the people who use it, that makes them hardcore gamers?
So the person who bought a PlayStation 4 for their young child, yes, that makes the person who bought it probably a hardcore gamer. Absolutely, because I don't know of a lot of parents who are buying their kids 7 and under PlayStation 4s for themselves, or for their kids only and not for them. And that's not everybody, but I'd say the majority, sure. We might disagree with that.
Because you know that there's a lot of non-hardcore games on the PlayStation 4, right? There's Minecraft and there's games like that.
Sure, but what does that have to do with Amico and who we're going for?
No, it has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the point that you brought up of people who buy the PlayStation are hardcore gamers. See, I'm trying to let you.
Pretty much.
I'm trying to let you in on that. There are people who buy the PlayStation, the Xbox. They're not necessarily hardcore gamers. You're excluding.
You don't have to let me in on it. It's obvious. And when I say stuff like hardcore gamers, I don't mean 100% obviously.
What percent do you mean? Because you say.
But the majority, the overwhelming majority, absolutely is.
So maybe the problem,
time and time again.
The disconnect maybe is what you consider a hardcore gamer.
Somebody who plays, well, I mean, you could say there's hardcore gamers on mobile. More people play mobile games than on PlayStation, but they don't consider themselves hardcore gamers, even though they play Candy Crush every day for an hour.
Right.
Now, me and you would label them as a hardcore gamer, maybe, right? I mean, anyone who plays video games an hour every day is probably hardcore. But the way I label a hardcore player, Tony, and maybe that is the disconnect, maybe you're correct about that. I'm talking about the Call of Duty, the Fortnite player, somebody who doesn't mind every time they turn their Xbox on that they're going to get a 20-minute update, firmware update. I'm talking about those players. There's not a lot of casual people who play the PlayStation 4. The casual gamers are over playing mobile every single day, and they way outnumber. Only less than 7% of the people in the world actually play home consoles. And so, maybe there's some disconnect in my wording, but I consider a hardcore gamer not to be the woman who plays Candy Crush, because by definition, yes, she's a hardcore gamer, but I consider that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the first-person shooter, Halo LAN parties, Call of Duty, Red Dead 2, World of Warcraft, those types of folks.
Okay, so what about the folks that use the Switch? Because Animal Crossing just sold 2 million copies in the last 3 days.
Great. Awesome game.
Does that make them, that's 1.4% of all of Japan. Does that make them hardcore gamers?
I'd say a lot of people who bought Animal Crossing would be considered, probably hardcore gamers or definitely enthusiasts. Sure. I think you're getting maybe caught up on hardcore. Again, what does it mean when we talk about Amico?
You say family, fun, safe, couch co-op.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: do you think families are already playing the Switch? Then is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that people who want to play with their families could also be hardcore gamers. People that would enjoy your system that you've said is not for them could be hardcore gamers.
No. Let's stand back. I never said hardcores, are not going to enjoy our system.
You said the system's not for them.
Is that what I'm saying is it's not our initial target audience. And it's not part of our go-to-market strategy initially. Do I think that hardcore gamers are going to enjoy Amico? Abso-freaking-lutely I do. But if I come out and say that now, you think everybody makes fun of me now? Because, the stupid looking cell games, it looks like it's an Ouya, blah, blah, blah. You think if I came out now and said to hardcore gamers, hey, this system's for you too, how do you think that would go over for me? It's not, our business model doesn't live or die by hardcore gamers. If none of them buys a single system, it doesn't matter to our business model. If they do, that's great. I think we are going to capture them. I think they're going to love it. I think they'll get it as a second or third machine this next generation. But if I come out and say, oh yeah, we're making this thing for hardcore gamers, check out Shark hardcore gamers, you don't think they would eviscerate me more than they are now? So yeah, we have a very solid plan in place, and our go-to-market strategy is for all of those family and friends out there who've been ignored completely by the video game industry. And people can go on all they want about the Switch, but the reality is only 55 million people have bought the Switch. Now, I think it's a fantastic machine. I personally love it. There's some things I don't like about it, but I think it's an amazing thing, and I think Nintendo amazing company. But the Wii that sold 102 million units, my mom bought one. Nursing homes were buying one. Well, my mom didn't buy a Switch. And a lot of people, those casual gamers who bought a Switch, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. A lot of those people who bought a Wii haven't bought a Switch. And that's not Nintendo's doing something wrong. They're not. Nintendo's kicking Microsoft's ass right now. So yeah, there's a big section of people out there who find the Switch intimidating. That's all. There's nothing wrong with that.
And where did you get that they found the Switch intimidating and just didn't want to play it?
Well, it's easy. It's facts. There's 21 million households in the United States that have kids between the ages of 2 and 7. There's 21 million households.
You're not answering what I asked you. You're not answering.
Well, I'm trying to tell you the numbers so that it makes sense to you.
That's not what I asked. I didn't ask for numbers. I asked you, where did you get that they found the Switch to be intimidating? You always say that this is intimidating.
Don't add up.
The numbers don't add up
because there's 3 billion people who play
mobile
games every day.
Yeah.
And casual and mobile, not just mobile, casual and mobile games. There's 3 billion of those, and less than 2% of those people have a Switch. So are you going to sit there and tell me that the 98% of the people out there is saturated?
No.
The numbers don't add up.
See, you're still missing the question. The question is, you said they found it intimidating. Yeah. Those are your words. They found it intimidating. I'm asking you, how do you know that the reason that they didn't buy a Switch was due to intimidation and not some other factor?
We have tens of thousands of dollars of market research where we've asked parents, why don't you have a Nintendo Switch? And they say it's too intimidating. And they love our machine. 78% of the people who we put in a room choose our system over a Switch every day of the week.
And this market research that you did, was it a paid market research for paid participation?
Well, you have to pay for it. You don't do market research for free, obviously. So yes, we pay a third-party company.
No, not the company. The company, are they paying the participants, the people that are coming in to say, hey, you want this focus group? They're not being paid?
Yes, and the market research that we do, these companies, these professional companies that we use, are what they do is they'll ask 20 different things to these participants, and 3 or 4 of them are our questions. So they don't just ask video game questions, and they take sample sizes of 1,500 people all across America, not just on the coastlines, not just in Texas, not just in Middle America. They take a 1,500 people, and they ask a series of about 50 or 60 questions, and 4 or 5 of them are ours, and they don't even mention the name Intellivision.
Have you ever been part of a paid focus group, Tommy?
Have I been part of one?
Yes.
Me personally?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And were you already someone who was well off when you were doing this, or was this early in your life?
No, I was earlier in my life.
Because I've been part of some, and I've noticed in some, not all, but in some focus groups, people are just going through the motions. You know, whatever it is they think that they want, the person wants them to say. So, hey, do you like this? Sure, why not? Just give me my check for $100 and send me on my way.
So what you're saying, Tony, so what your thought and opinion is that because I have market research that disagrees with your opinion, what you're doing is you want to throw out all of my market research because you don't agree with it. Is that what you're trying to get at here?
No, not at all. What I'm trying to get at is there a possibility that your market research could be skewed one way or the other? That's all I'm getting at.
Yeah, well, what I'm telling you, Tony, is that we don't just do one thing with one company. How do you think we raised millions of dollars? You think it's on my fucking good looks and because I'm a good talker and a good salesman? Hell no. People don't put money into something like this, especially something as crazy as this, where they're like, wait a second, you want to go up against Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony? You must be nuts, right? We have to have solid research from many, and by the way, it isn't just in the US, it's around the world, everywhere from India to the Middle East to Canada to Germany, UK. I mean, we got focus tests everywhere, and we got it on video, and these are things we show people. So sometimes we just do focus groups just for Amico. Other times we mix it in to get a completely non-biased thing. Sometimes we do upper middle class families. Other times we do, folks who aren't well off or who are single parents who are in middle America. I got data all up and down that tell it, and I know exactly who my focus group is, and I know exactly who it isn't. And that's how you're able to raise money. It's not just 1 or 2 things, Tony.
I know how it works.
Probably 25 to 30 different completely independent things, and they all tell us the same exact thing.
So they all tell you that they're intimidated by the Switch.
They say that on our average, 78% of those families would pick Amico over Switch every day of the week. Yes.
Right, but see, that goes back to what I'm trying to say, Tommy.
Well, let me ask you,
they could pick the Amico.
You don't think the eShop is intimidating for a non-gamer?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't own a Switch, so I don't know.
How are you making an argument about how big the Switch is when you don't even own one? How can you sit here and tell me that I'm wrong about the Switch being complicated when you don't even have one? Buy one and then tell me in a week that you don't think it's complicated.
That's not what I said. See, you're getting all agitated and offended by me asking you a simple question. You said that they were intimidated. I'm just saying, how do you know it is intimidation that they didn't buy it versus
because anyone who has a Switch knows it's intimidating. But let me just say, I need to stop and say this. I am not getting agitated and upset.
Okay,
I am not doing that. Person, I'm an East Coast Italian. I'm sure you're a passionate person as well. So don't play the I'm getting agitated and upset card. I'm not. I get excited about this stuff. So I just want to point that out.
I was just reading the chat. The chat seemed like you were agitated. I was just going off of them. But if you're not good, because
I think most people in the chat would agree with me. But go ahead.
We'll move on from that. You mentioned you mentioned a lot about mobile gamers, and what is it? 3 billion people play mobile games.
No, I didn't say that. I say 3 million people play casual games.
3 million or billion?
About 2.2 to there's 2.2 billion to 2.7 billion people who play mobile games, but then there's also another 200 to 300 million people who play casual games on different devices that are not mobile. So that's where I get the 3 billion.
Right. And then, so you said that you're trying to capture that because they spend, what is it, $80 to $87 on average per person?
In the United States, the average person spends anywhere from, I've seen, it depends on what year it is, but I've seen them spend anywhere from $78 to $90 per year on average on the mobile device. Yes, that's a statistic that anyone can Google.
And do you have the statistic of how many people playing mobile devices, mobile games, actually spend money?
Well, that's the thing. The average is $80. So the person who are spending money, because and I know the figures, and again, that varies. It's typically about, I think it's 40%, 30 to 40%. It fluctuates. So
really?
Imagine that.
That's not the numbers I'm getting. The number I got was 5% of all mobile players spend money on mobile games.
So that means that they must be spending about $1,000. Is that true?
Yeah, it is. Have you played mobile games, Tom?
I play them every day, buddy.
Which kind? Because the mobile.
I play them more than you play the Switch.
Yeah, probably. But which mobile games do you play?
Which mobile games? Let me see.
Well, not even. You don't have to give me the name. Just kind of like what type of game is it that you're playing on mobile?
Oh gosh, all of them. Anyone from because again, I play them for my job, but I play everything from Ellen's Heads Up game to F1 on mobile. I love that for my personal stuff. I like Wizard of Oz and Wonka's World of Wonder, which is like a match 3 thing. I play 2D shooters. Heck, I even play Robot Unicorn. Let me see, what else?
Do you play any gacha games?
Say again?
Gacha games. Any gacha games? Gacha, the games where you have to buy a box and it opens up and you get a little prize.
The loot box stuff. You talking about loot boxes?
Well, then, yeah, they're, I guess, sort of loot boxes.
Yeah, that's what they're called in the industry. They call them loot boxes. No, I prefer not to play those games. When I see those types of games, I delete them off my system because I don't like.
Because those are the most popular games, and those are the games that people are spending this money on. And they are the games that people are spending thousands of dollars on individually.
So Candy Crush is a loot box game all of a sudden now? What do you mean? Candy Crush.
I'm not talking about Candy Crush.
Any of those loot box games you just mentioned.
Define
what you mean?
Well, the most popular games are stuff like, let me see. Let me 1 second because I have it up on Wikipedia. I'll give you a chance to go ahead and talk to the chat real quick.
Mm-hmm. Still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. So let's see. We got the highest grossing mobile game is Monster Strike. Candy Crush isn't until 5th place.
That's done over in Japan by a company called Mixi.
Yeah, and we
know very well.
And it had a U.S. server too at one point.
Yeah, not well known here in America, but big over in Asia.
It's huge, and those would be mobile games that people are spending money on to get their little monsters, to get their little loot boxes.
Yeah, but that's not. We'll define a loot box. I'm not sure you're explain. I mean, do you? I'm not trying to sound disrespectful, but do you know what the definition of a loot box is?
In the industry definition,
as opposed to like a game that has a lot of microtransactions.
A loot box would be a box that you don't know what's inside, and then you pay money, and then it opens up, and you get a thing.
Correct. That's so okay. I just wanted to make sure we're both on the same page with that. So yes, that's a loot box game. Candy Crush is not that.
Right. And the loot box game is the one that's making more money than Candy Crush.
Not in America, it's not.
Well, let's see. What about Clash of Clans? We got Puzzle and Dragons is a loot box game. That's number 2 on the list.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Candy Crush it has microtransactions. It's number 5. But what I'm saying is, the people that play loot box games, they spend thousands of dollars per game, per account. Some of these people have multiple accounts where they're spending upwards to $3,000-$4,000 a year on these games. So the $80 average mobile gamer spending, it's really skewed. I mean, it looks good, it sounds good, but only 5% of the people are actually spending money on these games, and the majority of people spending money.
That's not true. That's not in the United States. That's not true. That's bad data, Tony.
Well, then what percentage would you say are spending money on mobile games?
Let me look it up. How many people pay? Because I don't want to say something and then you have to say, oh, it's 5% more or less. Hold on.
I'll send you a link. I got a link to one right here. If you want, I can send it to you. I can put it in the chat.
Let me see. Here we go. This is of the new ones, mobile tape. Half the time spent by internet was on mobile. U.S. industry. Gaming revenues, revenue distribution, number of mobile gamers in America by device. Let me see. Study up and down.
Like the one I pulled up says 4.8%.
4.8% play video games.
No, 4.8%
video games
are spending.
In the United States.
Yeah.
We have different numbers, but okay.
And globally, I'm getting 2.8%. It says globally there are 49.3 million mobile gamers who spend big on mobile games, or 2.8% of all mobile gamers. So even if you are able to capture it, you're able to entice the market of mobile gamers, most of them don't spend money. They don't want to pay. They want to play the free-to-play games and not actually spend any money on them.
So what that's saying is that the U.S. boasts the highest percentage of lucrative gamers. That's 4.8. That's all that's saying. You're reading it wrong. It's saying that the United States has the highest percent of those big gamers that are spending big money. That is not saying, Tony, that only 4.8% of people spend money on games. It's saying that 4.8%, 5% of people in the United States are the ones that are spending the big money. So you've completely read that wrong.
I can get you another one that says 5%.
Oh, okay, but wait, are you going to concede that you just got that wrong? Are you going to concede that?
Did I read that wrong? It seems I did read that wrong.
Okay, I appreciate the honesty.
But I think you also might have read it slightly wrong too. Hold on.
Okay. I saw it for the first time and I could decipher it in 10 seconds. Swami saying 74% of people pay in the for mobile games, and again, that might only be $5 or $10, but to say that only 4.8% of people are the only ones spending money on mobile is completely wrong. Completely.
You know, I sent you a link the other day. No, I can't find it. Fuck it.
Here you go. Here, I'll send you this one. Statistica.com. It says 60. There you go. Bam, 60%. There you go. Okay, do you want to move on or do you want to keep going on?
Oh, we can move on. The whole point was what they're spending it on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, spending it on game. Yeah.
Are they spending it on games or are they spending it in the game? See, that's a slight, I know it sounds like I'm being pedantic.
It says roughly 60% of gamers in the United States own between 1 and 10 games or paid games on mobile.
So they own them or they?
Anyway, why don't we move on? What's going on? What else do you want to talk about?
Let's see. So you said that you're going to capture this mobile market, but you always seem upset, or I don't want to say upset because you're not upset.
Okay.
You seem
passionate. Say passionate, Tony.
You seem passionate whenever someone says it's mobile quality. You want to capture a market of casual gamers who play mobile quality games, yet you're passionate that your games aren't mobile quality. Wouldn't that be actually a good thing? Like, we're trying to capture this market of mobile gamers and our games look like the games that they play already. So I don't understand why you're always trying to say that there's not mobile quality.
First of all, you're putting words in my mouth and twisting words, and that's not true. I don't say that. What I say is that our games might look like mobile, and I'm proud of that because 93% of the people in the world who play video games are used to those kind of graphics and don't like photorealistic graphics. Where I make the differentiation always is that the games that are on mobile are very solitary. They're solitary experiences, and they're very quick experiences. Our games have a lot more depth because not only do they have single player mode, so even a game like Shark or Cornhole, right? Our Cornhole game, sure, you can put a Cornhole game on mobile all day long. There's a couple of them on there, and you swipe your bag into the Cornhole. And they're simple, easy, complete things. Then you have our Cornhole game, which has 120 different levels, over 250 unlockables, motion control, up to 8 players at a time. So it might look simple and look like mobile, but what we've done is we've making it a lot more in-depth because people can play it, and we've added a lot of multiplayer modes. That makes sense, right?
That makes total sense.
Cool.
I was just, like I said, whenever someone says mobile quality, you jump in there and you...
Yeah, but do you understand why, Tony? Because because there is a big distinct difference. And if you want to compare graphics, sure, I'm not gonna argue that. Yeah, our games, don't look like the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 5. They look mobile. It's an Android Linux-based system, ARM-based processor. Sure, it's going to look like mobile. What's wrong with that? 93% of the world prefer that over a Switch and a PlayStation and Xbox. So if I'm catering to that crowd, why wouldn't I make the games look like what they're used to and what they like?
That's exactly what I was saying. That's why I was always confused whenever someone said mobile quality and you jump in there.
The quality isn't mobile quality. If they said the graphics, that's one thing, but the quality of the entire game, that's a completely different story. And that's what I argue, is that no, we have multiplayer, we have coach co-op, we have single player, they're in depth. Even a game like Shark, there's things to open, there's things to unlock, and it's and there's a bunch of different modes. That's all.
All right, we can move on. I want to ask you about the E10 plus rating.
Okay, cool.
So, are you going by the ESRB standards, or do you have internal standards for Amico?
Well, see, it's a great question, and the reality is that wherever you go in the world, there is wherever you go in the world, there's different ways. The ESRB is just for North America.
Yeah,
right? They have PEGI over in the UK. There's actually about, I think there's like 15 or 20 different ones. And all of them have different things. So something that's PEGI 7 here in UK is slightly different than E+10 here in the US. So there's slightly different things.
Yeah,
so,
I was going to ask you about that too.
That's the, so it's a, so are we going just by the ESRB? No, we're taking all of them into account and basically think of it like as a G-rated movie, if you will, or a PG-13 movie. We're not going to go straight PG, because when you look in the teen, let's take the ESRB for an example. Teen rating means there's just, it means there's small amounts of violence, small amounts of bad language, small amounts of sexual stuff or whatever. So we don't want any of that. So that's where we draw the line. I don't even like the idea of having a beat 'em up, because like when a kid sees somebody on a screen and they're using their fists to hit and to kick and stuff like that, that's much different than a couple of like vehicles smashing into each other. As long as you don't see a person in there and they're not falling out and they're not smashing their heads against the thing. So, and that's how that's a lot of the differences between, that's kind of where the bar gets put for a lot of these different things. So we talk to all of them all over the world, and we've come to an understanding of what we're going to do on our system. But we're not necessarily exactly sticking to E+10 for every single thing, because something in Europe might be slightly different and whatever. So everybody has their own little rules.
Right. I was just asking because I was wondering, I'm assuming that the Amico is going to be around for 20, 30 years, sometime into the future.
From your lips to God's ears, Tony.
And, as we know, society changes, what people find acceptable changes. And I was just wondering if, 10, 20 years in the future, if the ESRB says, you know what, E10, we can have beat 'em ups. E10, you can have Call of Duty. Are you still going to not have those type of games, even if?
Correct.
Okay, so you do have, like, no matter what, these games will never be on the system.
That's correct.
Okay, that's all I was wondering. And since you mentioned global markets and all that, they have their own different ratings. How are you handling regional versions of the game? Is it going to have one version of all your games?
No, everything is let's say squeaky clean, but everything goes by our standard of what the trust that we want to have with parents. So it goes by what we think.
I'm not necessarily talking about standards. I'm talking about, like, for instance, China doesn't allow skeletons, zombies. So,
correct.
So if you had a skeleton enemy in, say, your Dungeons and Dragons game, would the game not come in China, or would you remove that for China?
We would not put it in China. So
the game just wouldn't go to China at all, or what I'm saying?
Correct. Yeah, because we got hundreds of. I mean, again, I don't want to say a definitive yes or no. My first reaction would be we just wouldn't put that in China. That's a super easy solution that costs no money. But if the game was like super popular and people in China really, really wanted to play it, and all we had to do was take out the skeletons, and it cost us, I don't know, 10 grand in a couple of weeks to develop. Okay, fine, we'll do it. So let me back that up and say I would do that on a case-to-case basis, depending on the cost versus return.
I mean, because some people might see that as censorship. I mean, they were upset when World of Warcraft did it. They got rid of stuff to cater to China, and I was just wondering if you were going to be catering to China and other markets. Because I know, like, in Iran, you can't have magic, you can't have certain things.
That's right. Yeah.
That's all I want to know about that.
Yeah. No, I think that if certain countries have problems with magic, we don't want to piss people off. We just won't release that stuff. It's our prerogative to do that because we don't want to offend the people of that country or their culture or their society. We're not here to piss people off. We're here to bring people together.
family fun and is that what you said?
Together again. That's our motto.
There it is. Let me see. I got a question from the chat. Let me scroll.
Yeah, I saw that one in there about the mobile phones, but go ahead and ask it.
Yeah, let me scroll back up. Sorry about not reading the chat.
People to put. I think the question was, how are we going to convince people to put the mobile down? And I think that was it. Something like that.
I got it. It says,
find it so it's exact.
I got it right here. It says, what is Amico going to do to encourage those casuals to put their phone down? These casuals are used to convenient, cheap, isolated gaming. Why give that up for convenience?
Because our story is that people want to play together. That's what our market research shows. That's what the Nintendo proved with the Wii, and that's what we continue to carry on 14 years after the Wii was. So the biggest problem that yes, mobile gaming is great for you're sitting waiting for a plane or waiting for a bus, or you're waiting in the car and you pop something open, boom, 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 you play, or a lot of times, you had a hard day at work or something and you just want to like totally veg out and not even think about it. Boom, you play those mobile games. They're amazing. They're great. I'm not putting whenever I say something, it's because I'm answering a question. It's not, I don't put down mobile games. I don't put down Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft. I love them all. And that's what a true gamer should be. A true gamer should love everything that's out there. Now, everything might not be for me, but at least I can expect and appreciate it. But in regards to mobile gaming, it's so solitary. Tony, you don't see there being a big problem like in the world right now, where people are sitting down at the dinner table and then the dad's looking in his phone, maybe he's looking on his stocks, and mom's playing Candy Crush, and the teenage girl is on Instagram or TikTok, the little kid's browsing YouTube. It's like there's 4 or 5 people in a room and they're not even there on the same, they're all off in their own little worlds. And this has become a big problem with society, and something that parents, again, young parents, are afraid about, that their kids are going to turn into these zombies, who are just into the mobile device. And so our sell to them is, look, when I play a big video game, Tony, like I'll tell you a quick thing. Like when I played Red Dead 2, and I played by myself, and my dog wanted to go for a walk, and my wife wanted to go out to dinner or whatever.
No spoilers. I haven't had a chance. No spoilers. I haven't had a chance to play my copy yet.
No. I won't spoil. No spoilers. But I started playing the game, and 4 or 5 hours in, and I started to kind of feel guilty. When you get to be, older, you kind of feel guilty when everybody around you wants to spend time with you and this and that. And so that's our thing. But when you spend time with friends and family, like playing a board game and everybody's communicating, that gives you feelings, joyous, positive feelings. So that's all we're saying. So how are we going to get those people to put their mobile down? Because of the couch co-op. Because people do want to play something. It's just that they don't have that available to them on mobile. There's only a very handful of mobile games that people can play together. Jackbox being one of them, and Son of a Gun. Jackbox is a big, huge, awesome, successful game, but it's only an adult game. There's a lot of adult, there's a lot. Well, there is a parental control on some of them.
I've never played it.
But the standard is very, very adult kind of racy questions, right?
I
love Jackbox, and I love the guys over there. And so that's my point, and that's our big differentiator. How are we going to get people to put their mobile games down? Well, they're not going to stop playing mobile games altogether, but what we're offering them is time where they, instead of feeling guilty because they're on in their world, they can now play together just like they would a board game, have fun, communicate. That's our sell. And if we can do that successfully, then we'll sell 100 million machines.
And what's stopping people from playing the same mobile game next to each other and competing with each other on their phones?
Give me an example.
All right, let's say that I download the Frozen free fall game, the match 3 game. And my daughter downloads it too. And we sit on the couch and we both play the game, competing against each other, see who can get a better score. What's stopping people from doing that? Because that's couch co-op.
What if you had 2 more people? And what if you had your dad and somebody else? Can you play 4-player?
They all have phones. We could all play and see who gets higher score. We can get another game and see how far we can go.
That's a big difference than 4 people all watching one screen together. Big difference.
So you're saying that the lack of one screen is the difference, is what's going to draw people away? Because I'm saying if people want to play together, they can.
I'm saying that our main focus is playing those type of games, couch co-op. They're designed for that kind of thing. Mobile games are not designed for people all playing together in the same room. They're not designed that way. Next to each other. That's like,
don't worry. I will address that. I will, because there are a lot of games where you can have clans and groups or whatever you want to call them. So you can download all the same. Let's say I download the new Marvel game. We all join the same clan, and we all have our own screens, but we're actually cooperating together to make the clan have a better score, to make the clan do something, to defeat a boss, to finish a mission. You can do that because right now.
So what you're saying is that an average non-gaming mom is going to join a clan and go play a Marvel character.
No, that was just my example. There's other games. There's a ton of games where you can join, do things together with other people across the world. So there's nothing stopping you and someone next to you playing together that game. Does that make sense to you?
Different experience. Yeah, different experience.
But all I'm asking is, if you can do that, why are they not doing that? Because you're saying that there's no option to play anything couch co-op. There's this hole in the market, but there are ways to get around that.
I'll tell you why. Because mobile games are, the controller kind of sucks. You're always going to get ads. They're always going to want your credit card from you, and excuse me, that's not Corona. I have a dry throat. So the idea of just burying your head in a phone, not even looking at somebody, not even again, take a game like our cornhole game, for example, where everybody can see what everybody else is doing. That's a big difference. Oh, look how well you did. Oh, you almost missed it. Okay, are you playing together? Are you playing? It's just a totally different experience.
Did you know that they have adapters for your phone that you could connect it to your TV and you could project what's on your phone onto your TV?
Of course. Well, you don't even need a device to do that. You cast it right on there.
So I can cast a game onto my TV, and we could all take turns playing cornhole on mobile.
What'd you just say there, Tony? You said take turns. How about 4 people all playing at the same time?
Are they all throwing it? Are they all throwing at the same time?
Play isn't fun.
So on your cornhole game, is the 4 people throwing all at the same time?
Sometimes in some of the modes we do, yeah, absolutely. That's fun.
Oh,
okay,
see,
everybody on your mark, get set, go. You have 30 seconds. Who can score the most points? Go.
I didn't, see that's the kind of thing that's when people are like, we don't understand. You only give us so much of your information, and then you stop short, and then we're like, well, this doesn't sound any different from what we can do this other way.
Well, and that's the thing. Why are people jumping on me and attacking me when they haven't had a chance to see and play the system?
I don't think people are doing that. I think people are hearing what you're saying.
Don't think people are jumping on me? Really?
Oh, there's always going to be people jumping on everybody. So just that particular section, people jump on me from just breathing sometimes. So don't even pay attention to them. I'm talking about the people that have actual criticism are just saying, this is what you've said. This is what we've heard or seen. I don't see how it's different from something else.
But how many times do I keep telling people
Trust
that,
you.
Look, you haven't seen anything yet, and we have a bunch of information still going to be releasing. So everyone wants everything now before we release it. That's not the way the world works. Tell me all the specs of the PlayStation 5. They're coming out around the same time as us. How come you haven't seen any of their games? How many couch co-op games do you think the PlayStation 5 and Xbox are going to have on launch? How many?
No idea.
Neither. What we're saying is that every one of ours is going to be that, and we've given price a year ahead of time. So yeah, I mean, it's, everybody wants everything, and that's what I keep telling people. I say, look, criticisms are completely fair, right? Because you don't have all the information. All I keep telling people, and people have heard me say this a million times, look, don't make a decision until you play it. That's all. Isn't that fair, Tony? Would that be fair to say, make your decision once you have a chance to play it? Is that a fair thing to ask?
No.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm gonna elaborate why I said no.
Please do.
You've released information, you've released footage. Just by doing that, you're now saying, here's what I got. Criticize it, love it.
Not true.
It's not true. So you're
Not
saying
true.
putting stuff out into the ether for people to see, they have no reason to criticize. They are not allowed or shouldn't be able to criticize?
No, what I'm saying is they shouldn't make a decision. I'll give you an really good example, Tony. Tell me if you follow me on this. So what we've had that little that we call it Sideswipers. It's this car crashing game that's like on a track, right? And so we showed a little clip of it last year, and then we showed a new clip of it in our recent game where we showed 23 trailers, and everybody was kind of like, looks like a car crash game. I'm not interested, right? Because they only were able to see, a 5 to 7 second clip of it. And they're like, I don't think it really interests me. And then I go ahead and do like a 5-minute video explaining what's coming up, how the controller is unique, how this game is unique, how people can set traps once they're over. And that's the really fun of the game. And then once I explained that to people, they were like, holy crap, this is super cool. So imagine every single game that we have on launch is something cool and special and different like that than all the other games that are out there that are normal games. Even like our dice game, right? We showed Farkle, where everybody has a dice on their controller and everybody can shake it if they want, and they can hear the little shaking sound come out of their microphone. And then when it's your turn, boom, you throw it up on screen. And that little kind of thing is like such a wow factor moment for casual gamers that they've never really seen before. So these kind of like little wow moments, we have tons and tons and tons of them. We haven't even released our biggest testing games that are testing off the charts for family and party games and stuff like that. So yeah, people haven't seen anything yet. We put out these little things as little teasers, and you can't judge the whole system based on a screenshot or a little 5-second clip. That the Sideswipers game is a perfect example. People saw it, they didn't like it. Then when they saw me explain it, now all of a sudden it's one of their favorite games. So that's a good example.
So you don't think that maybe by putting the stuff out there, you're inviting people to go ahead and criticize it?
Oh, I don't care if they criticize it or not. It's not for them. They can criticize it all, but I don't care. There's going to be more people in the world who don't buy the system than do. So, of course, I'm not trying to convince everybody on the planet that they should buy one. And the people who are, who dislike the graphics and who dislike what we're doing, clearly the system's probably not for them. And that's fine. So what?
But how do you know that the people criticizing are the ones that it's not for? How do you, maybe the people criticizing are your audience?
I think it will be for them after they have a chance to play it.
I got a follow-up question because the chat is being very mad at me. It says, follow up from that earlier question from the chat. It says, if those people want together time so bad, why have they not filled that gap already? Board game sales are good and they're already great family fun opportunities. Do they really want to spend $250 when they can buy a $30 board game and get the same great interaction?
Yeah, they could. Yeah, and do you know of any home that just has a game?
I didn't hear you cut out. You cut out, Tommy. I didn't hear what you said.
I said, do you know of any family that has spent $30 on just one board game and they only have one entire house? Or do they have multiple ones?
I don't have any board games in my house, so.
All right, but I'm saying the average person in America has a whole bunch, hundreds of dollars of board games. In fact, the board game industry over the last 5 years has gone up about 40% every year, year after year. Why is that? Because they're not getting enough video games where they can play together. And that is, again, that is data and research. And the other thing I was going to add to that is that when people play board games, again, you're talking about something where people have to sit down like a Monopoly game. You're talking 2 hours if it's 4 to 5 people, right? Maybe they only want to play 20 minutes. You know, card games, a deck of cards, you know, people play that. So there's a lot of different ways that people play games together. Board games are now the #1 segment on Kickstarter. They surpassed video games. So there is a need for people to want to play together, and video games hasn't been providing that, which is why so many people are finding other ways to get together and play together.
Would you call those people hardcore board gamers or just casual board gamers?
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't call them anything. They're just people who play board games.
Because I mean, there's a difference between, say, playing Settlers of Catan and, say, Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, Chutes and Ladders is a board game, but it's not the same kind of board game as something more complicated.
So, yeah, I mean, Ticket to Ride. What would you consider that? Is that a casual? I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. I think Ink and Gold is a great card game that not a lot of mainstream folks know about, but is considered a very light category for hardcores. So Jaws is another one. Some people love it. Some people in the hardcore gamer folks hate Settlers of Catan because they think it's too easy. So
I think that's just a hipster thing.
Say again?
I think that people that hate on Catan are just, those are the type of people that don't want to play the popular game or whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, they think it's too commercialized or whatever.
Right. But I'm just saying, are you going to have those complex 2-hour-plus games on Amico, or are you just going to have simple board games?
Yeah, more of the simple stuff, more of the fun stuff, family stuff, party game stuff. That's not to say we won't have Settlers of Catan, by the way. You never know. But even that is a more simple game that people can understand and pick up easy.
Let me scroll through the chat real quick to see. I do apologize to the chat. I don't live stream. This is not the thing that I usually do, so I probably missed some stuff. So if I did, throw the questions back in the chat. I'll see if I can see them now.
To answer Lucas's question, that is absolute data and fact. It's not my opinion. It's fact and research.
Speaking of research, holes in the market, why is it that you think no other company has attempted to fill the hole in the market that you've seen?
Well, because you basically have 3 big console manufacturers. If you Google, and what market did they go for? They went right for hardcores, massive streaming, blah, blah, blah. So you have, why? Because you have 3 companies, and 2 of them, Microsoft and Sony, are very much similar. And then the third party is Nintendo. Now, Nintendo, they came out with the Wii. And at the time, it was the 3rd biggest selling home console of all time. Now it slipped to number 4 because PlayStation 4 recently passed it.
Okay,
but it was the number 3 selling console of all time. Nintendo then followed up with the Wii U, the complete opposite of what the Wii was. The Switch, they put together because they were losing the 3DS market, the handheld market, which they owned for 30 years, the best of the best, but they started to see that losing because mobile took over. So they said, you know what, let's come up. See, Nintendo's a great company because they're always trying to innovate. They always say, they brag, you know what? We never do the same thing twice. So what they did is they proved that families and non-gamers are willing to purchase a family home console if it's simple and it's easy and it's affordable to play. They've proved it already. They've proved it already. It's already happened. It's done. It's done. They're not. But with the Switch, that's not the same audience that they went for for the Wii. It's a different audience, just like the Wii U is a different audience, just like the Super Nintendo is a different audience, and they're proud to proclaim it, and they should be. They do completely different things every time, whereas Sony and Microsoft, they kind of just do the same thing, don't they? And except they make it faster and prettier looking, and that's okay too for certain people who they're going for. So all we're saying is we're going to do something really unique and different.
But I'm not talking about the three main console makers. I'm talking about anybody else in the world. I've seen nobody else you saw a hole in the market. You said, I have to fill this hole in the market. But I haven't seen any other company, any other startup, Kickstarter say, you know what? There's this hole in the market and I'm going to fill it. The hole that you said is obvious.
That's what separates me from the rest of the world, Tony. You know what else people didn't say? They said, who the hell would ever go see a symphony show about video game music? They said people who go to a symphony, they don't play video games. And people who do play video games, they don't go to a symphony. And I started Video Games Live, and people said I was crazy. They say you're lucky if 500 people show up. And I risked everything that I worked my entire life for to put on that first show at the Hollywood Bowl, the biggest stage one of the biggest stages in the world in regards to prestige and people knowing it. I rented the LA Philharmonic, one of the top 10 orchestras in the world, and people said you're lucky if 500 people show up. They thought I was crazy, just like people are saying I'm crazy now. And guess what? 11,000 people showed up to that show, and I now hold 3 Guinness World Records for Video Games Live, including the most shows ever done by a touring symphony show and the biggest symphony show ever seen live. 752,000 people in Beijing, China, watching a live symphony perform. And everybody thought I was nuts. I was the first person to ever put out a video game soundtrack album worldwide. Capitol Records, 1993, Virgin Games Greatest Hits, Tommy Tallarico, Volume 1. And everybody thought I was crazy. They said, who the hell would want to listen to video game music? And now it's norm. And then after that, I did a little show called The Electric Playground, Reviews on the Run and Judgment Day, where we took cameras and we walked around E3 when no one else was doing it. This is pre-internet, this is pre-YouTube, this is pre-Twitch TV, and everybody thought we were insane. Who the hell is going to want to watch people play video games and learn about video games? And now it's the norm. So when you sit here and say, why haven't anyone else done it? Well, they don't have the experience I do, and they don't have the balls that I do.
So experience and balls is why no one else has seen the hole in the market that you saw.
Hey, if everyone's so smart, why haven't they done it? So are you telling me that I'm wrong to have this dream? Are you telling me all the people who like the thing that?
You still there?
I mean, say it. Just say it.
I mean, you cut off. You cut out there.
I'm saying, are you saying that my vision and that no one's going to buy it? Is that what you're telling me?
No, that's not what I'm telling you.
Okay.
What I'm telling you, what I'm asking is why hasn't anybody seen this? That's all I
can't answer. I can't answer for other people. I just know that I'm a pioneer. And I won the Pioneer Award in the Game Developers Conference. It's only the second time it's ever been awarded. I'm a pioneer in the industry. That's why. Just like when I worked on Guitar Hero and Tony Hawk Pro Skater and Earthworm Jim and Metroid Prime and all the other amazing games I've been a part of. We were pioneering back then.
That's fine. Like I said, there's no one's here. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right. I don't know. Okay. We'll find out eventually if you're wrong. I'm just curious.
Oh, trust me. I wouldn't bet against me.
like I said, I'm just asking questions that people want to know. You know, you
No worries.
you
Again,
always
I'm
say
not-
that there's this.
I hope I'm not coming across as angry. I'm not. I just get passionate. Oh,
It's fine. You know, it rolls off my back, Tommy. If I was angry
Cool,
at
cool.
you, we wouldn't be here. But like I said,
cool.
you know, I just you say that it's obvious. You know, if you were to come out and say, "Hey, no one noticed this. I noticed this." Boom, I would be right on board. But you always like, it's so obvious. Why can't anyone else see this? And that's why I'm like,
Well,
if it's so obvious.
That's what I do say, though. I do say that. I said that's exactly what you said. You know, no one's done that. I do say that too. I say that as well.
I got another follow up from Lucas here. He's blowing up the chat with questions left and right. Said right now, 3 out of the 5 pack-ins are retro remakes. If this isn't a retro console, why has Intellivision Entertainment made it such a point to get licenses for retro IPs?
Okay, that's a great question. Can you say the first part of it again? They said 3 out of 5 what?
Of the known pack-in games are retro remakes.
3 out of 5 because for a pack-in games, actually it's 3 out of 6. We have 6 pack-in games, okay, and half of them are old Intellivision licenses, and Shark, you know, is a family game. It's not like, you know, it's not a remake. I mean, it's a remake, but it's not like some hardcore retro 2D shooter or anything like that. So Shark is a family game that anyone can pick up and play. And the other 2, Astro Smash, is more for a retro gamer. I will give them that because we wanted to put something in there that's, you know, kind of a fun, you know, easy, quick and easy shooter. And then the other one is skiing. So yes, skiing is a remake of a game, but the skiing video game isn't considered a retro game. Skiing is, I specifically chose skiing because skiing is a sport that families do together, right? So that was important. So when people think of going skiing together, that's something that and it's very easy to do. You hit down, left or right, and you hit the jump button when you want to jump, and that's it. Very easy. It's not like football or baseball where there's a lot of plays. It's not like soccer where there's a ton of fast action moving sport and this and that. So that's kind of, you know, we picked our 6 games based on focus group testing and to reach a wide family audience.
Can I interrupt just, or can I say something? For the chat,
Yeah.
so you guys know in the chat, I'm not here to like yell at Tommy or to, you know, make him feel bad or something. So all you guys that are pissed off in the chat that I'm not not interrupting him and letting him talk, you guys can suck it and cut it out. Now, to piggyback off of the question, why, if it's not a retro system, it's not a retro brand, why did you choose Intellivision Amico instead of just the Tallarico Amico?
Well, that would have been narcissistic. Because Intellivision was my machine growing up. I love it. I love the brand. And when you look on the original Intellivision box, what do you see? You see a bunch of families playing together. Intellivision, for that original Intellivision machine, there was actually a bunch of games where you had to have at least a second player to play. Everything from all the sports games to even like kids games like Math Fun, really. I mean, you could play Math Fun on your own, but it was way more fun with a second player. And so Intellivision is the perfect brand, not only because I love it and I'm so passionate about it, but because that was kind of a big family brand. Remember who brought Intellivision to the world? It was Mattel. Mattel's the biggest family toy line, them and Hasbro, but back in the day, Mattel was like the shit, right? And so I, you know, it was something that I felt strongly about, and the timing just happened to work out, you know, unfortunately, because my good friend Keith Robinson passed away, unfortunately. He was the president of Intellivision Productions, but even me and him were talking about this, you know, a year or so before he passed away. So yeah, I chose Intellivision because I love it. I'm passionate about it, and we're proud of our history. You know, Intellivision, if you go to our website, IntellivisionAmico.com, there's a page that shows all of the Intellivision first, our legacy of firsts, I call it. There's a lot of things that the video game industry has in it now that Intellivision invented and created, and now it just seems like, oh, these are just kind of average things that everybody, you know, just assumes. But Intellivision was there. We were a pioneer back then, you know. So it's, I think it's the perfect company. We're pioneering now. We're about family now, and yeah, and I'm passionate about it. So yeah, I think that's.
But you don't see the Intellivision name being a hindrance, because
no, not at all. No. I mean, because the reality is that any hell Intellivision is, right? I mean, I'm not, you know, people say that, oh, he thinks that people are going to know Intellivision. No, I don't. I don't know. Now, do people 40 and over know it? Absolutely. And it's a name that they remember as a kid. Now, some people don't like it because they were Atari fanboys. But again, back in the day, I don't know how old are you, Tony, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm 39.
Okay, 39. So you're close. You're close. You're like a Gen X border, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a Gen Xer. I'm 52 years old. And in the late 70s, early 80s, people don't realize that gaming was much different back then, because everybody just had one system. And so even though Intellivision owned 20% of the entire video game console market by the early 80s, we were doing $500 million gross a year, which is equivalent of about $1.4 billion today. But what people don't understand is, just because only 20% of the people bought one, which, by the way, is, you know, about what Microsoft is today in the console industry, right? But what people don't realize is that everybody used to go over everybody's house. So my buddies would come over because I had an Intellivision, and then we would go over their house because they had an Atari. So a lot of people do know the brand name if you're 40 and over.
Right. But that's what I'm saying, Tommy. I'm saying is everyone who is 40 and over knows the brand name. They're going to assume, however incorrect it is, but they will assume that this is a retro console. You don't see that as some sort of...
No. Do they assume that the Nintendo... Why would they?
Well, because Intellivision hasn't been around for like 30 years. The Nintendo has constantly put out systems. See, Nintendo's constantly...
All they have to do is watch one 30-second TV ad, and no one will ever think that.
All right, let me see. Let me check this chat. Lucas wants to know, if you're not targeting retro, why are you currently only targeting retro? With E3 canceled, doesn't it give you the freedom to start going after that target?
Question. Yeah, that's a good question. Why wait? He says. Why are you only targeting retro? Well, because we haven't started spending any of our marketing or advertising yet. So the only people who are paying attention to us right now are retro people.
I'm not retro.
Now, what's that?
I'm not a retro person, and I know there's other people that are not retro person that are actually paying attention to.
Okay, but it's not our target, our initial target market. And so once that starts, that's going to start at the end of the summer or early fall. So when you say, why don't you start spending money now? Because we're 6 months away from launch. Get real. Do you see Sony PlayStation ads on the television right now? No. Why not? Do you see, so again, think, you don't spend millions of dollars advertising when you're not ready when you're 6 months from launch. That would be asinine.
I would agree with you, but this interviews you've done other places, the presence on Atari Age, you don't consider that marketing at all?
No. No, it's me talking about that. It's me getting people excited.
Isn't that the very definition of marketing?
Say again?
Getting people excited for your product. Isn't that like marketing?
I guess you could say that. Yeah, but we haven't spent any advertising. So let me split that out. So, like our website, for example, is that considered marketing or is it advertising? A bit of both. Well, we don't spend money on boosting people to try to go to our website, but I guess some people would say, well, look, you need to put up a website and that's part of marketing. So, okay, in that regard, sure, we're doing a little bit of marketing, but only for the people who are paying attention. We're not going out of our way to start to advertise to our target market yet. We haven't done that yet.
And what about your YouTube channel? I know there's a lot of videos that have tens and thousands of views, and then there's some videos with only a few views. You're not using any kind of boosting marketing to get those views?
No.
I mean, that was one of the questions sent in to me. So.
Yeah, and we don't. And by the way, we don't want to, right? Because the reason we don't want to do that is because when we spend our advertising dollars, we don't want to spend it on those type of trailers that we're making right now. We're going to be doing a whole complete, you're going to see grandpas playing with grandkids. You're going to start to see all sorts of stuff. You know, you're not going to see me in too many. I was going to tell you that, not for those type. You're going to start to see, you know, really well done, you know, professional, you know, videos that appeal to our target audience. And that'll be coming at the end of the summer. And then those will start to spend big money on, sure.
And the YouTubers that you've talked to, people like Smash JT, Open Every Box, Dorkalicious, you don't see that as a form of advertising? You know, you've gone, gave them goodwill information, and they go around.
No, it's just an interview. That's called public relations.
Right.
PR.
That part I agree with you, but I'm talking about what happens afterward. Every time you have an interview, with maybe one or two exceptions, you have those people that you've been in an interview with show up on every other YouTube video, comment. They're right there promoting the Amico.
Isn't that great?
I'm asking you if it's great. I'm asking you if that's advertising, if that's...
No, that's not advertising. Advertising is paid advertising. Advertising, put it out when you take a post and boost it. It's when you, pay a streamer or a YouTuber. If we were paying any of those people, I'd consider that advertising. If we were giving them free stuff in exchange for them talking about it, I would consider that advertising. But we don't do any of that.
And you don't consider giving Smash JT a Ferrari ride as giving him something?
No.
Giving him access to your house to make YouTube videos where he makes money from. You don't consider that, you know, a gray area at the very least?
No. Why? He came over my house. So what?
Yeah.
If I had a Dodge Dart or if I had a Toyota Corolla, would people be talking? No. If I gave him a ride in a, would that be considered something?
If he made a video on it, and got advertising dollars from doing it, then yeah, I think people would.
Nah.
I mean, okay, let's for instance, let's say that Jim Acosta has a closed door meeting with Trump, and on the next day he's saying how great Trump is. He went from I hate Trump to I love him. You don't think at the very least it has the appearance of something shady?
Oh, for sure. It's not what happened with me and JT Smash, though. It's not what happened with me and Rich. It's not what happened with me and Vera Dart. Who I see in the thread.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just asking if it has the appearance, you know, because a lot of people see it. They see the one thing, they see the other thing. And then, you know, we don't know what happened. We don't know what conversations were had. So the only thing that we have is a criticism video and then a promotional video, and then
yeah, but who cares? who cares what other people, if somebody's jealous because he got something that they didn't, who cares?
I mean, I wouldn't call all of it jealousy. I mean, there's just some people that, you know, like I told you, you know, all cards on the table. I told you, you know, you offered to talk to me, and I told you I would talk to you after I interviewed you and not before. Because I don't want any appearance of that, you know, you coerced me or you schmoozed me or, yeah, you know, you made me feel good, and then I came out here.
So let me ask you this question. We have a female, very talented YouTuber in the chat right now. Her name is Vera Dark.
I know her very well.
Okay, so Vera Dark, she did a somewhat critical. She had a lot of questions. She wasn't sure. She wasn't really, more on the fence or anything. But she did a thing. I reached out. We talked more, and she understands it more. Would you say that she's a shill?
No, because she's not showing up in every YouTube section saying how great Amico is.
Well, actually, she gave Pat and Ian a taste of their own medicine.
No, I saw that.
She absolutely did.
I saw that. Believe me, I see everything.
So don't say she's not showing up. She is. She is now defending me.
I
didn't ask her to do it.
I said, because I like to be accurate. I said she's not showing up in every YouTube comment section. JT Smash and a lot of the other people that
not showing up in every single one.
I bet you in 90% of all Amico videos, you'll see JT Smash show up in the comment section.
Not true. That's exaggerating. Don't exaggerate now. Come on. We're keeping it real here.
No, okay. I'll give you that. I don't know the exact number because I did not count, but he is there quite often.
A lot of Amico videos out there, my friend. There's 10 videos that came out in the last 2 days, and I read all the comments, and not a single Smash JT in of them, and about half of them are bad, and half of them are good. So that's just a false statement. No offense.
No, it's fine. Like I said, if I'm wrong, feel free to tell me I'm wrong. But
you're wrong. Yeah, on that one you are.
But like I said, just like you check comment sections, I check comment sections, and I noticed the same names.
Okay.
Let me see if there's any comments. We got the chat.
Sure. I gotta say, this one guy is absolutely what. Let me ask you this, Tony. I gotta ask you a question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, feel free.
So there's this fool in the chat room who spelled my name backwards, right? And all he's doing is just, crapping all over. Do you think a guy like that who's so obsessed, and he shows up in a bunch of video channels, what do you think he's offering to the world? Do you think he's a fair person? Do you think he's maybe, going out of his way to be an ass? I mean, read the stuff he says, It's an interesting thing.
It is.
There's people who are, what I'm trying to say, people who go out of their way. He's so obsessed that he's now created a YouTube channel with my picture and my name backwards. You don't think that there's a person who might be going out of their way? And for what? What is their reason? Why would they do something? Why are they a coward and hide behind something like that and show up and say nasty things for 90 minutes on a Saturday night? They got nothing better to do? Wow.
Yeah, some people got nothing better to do. Some people, maybe he feels that you're not being 100% and he's aggravated, upset, wants your attention, wants you to...
And has there been, and we've had a very spirited discussion here, and is there anything that I've dodged from you? We've maybe had differences of opinion, but I certainly haven't dodged you, right?
No, not yet.
Okay, good. We'll keep it coming. And I don't intend to dodge you ever.
Back on the appearances, you don't think that Rich from Review Tech, I wasn't gonna bring him up, you brought him up, so
okay. No. I'll talk about Rich. I love Rich. Tell me what do you want?
I mean,
what do you want to ask about?
The fact that he was wearing an Amico sweater, you don't think that just looks bad?
Well, I mean, he even did a video. See, here's the thing. He's been wearing that sweatshirt for a couple of months now. He absolutely loves it. And by the way, they're very comfortable shirts. No, they are. I'm not everyone who has a shirt knows that they're super comfy, they're super high quality.
I'm sure they are, Tommy. But I mean, come on, you don't think that sounds like you're doing an infomercial on a sweater now? Come on.
What I'm saying is that for that shirt, on probably, I don't know, 20 or 30 streams over the last couple months. He himself admitted when he did a video back to Pat, he says, you know what? I didn't even think about it because I wear that shirt all the time. Now, if he never wore a shirt like that, and then all of a sudden, the day he was interviewing me, but again, so what? I did an interview last night with Turbo Joe.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he was wearing an Intellivision Amico shirt, and I didn't send it to him. And he was wearing it because he's like, "Oh wow, cool! I've done a couple interviews with the level 857 guys, super cool guys. And one show I did a thing, and they were all wearing Amico shirts.
Right, but see, here's the thing, Tommy. A lot of those people are just YouTubers. Normal. Rich is supposed to be almost a journalist, I would say. People, they look to him and say, "Hey, this is a guy who done it a lot."
He call himself a journalist. He gives opinions like the rest of us.
I don't know. People really, they look to him for informed opinions, unbiased opinions. I mean, personally, I don't watch his channel. I'm just going by what people have told me.
I like his channel. I think he's got some good. I love watching it, but again, jokes for different folks. That's fine.
I try not to watch a lot of things. I don't want my opinion that I put in my website to be changed by other people's opinions. But that's just me. But like I said, you don't think that it just looks bad. Because let's say like me, I've never watched Review Tech USA, never seen his channel. I go, hey, he's doing an interview with Tommy. Pop it on, and he's wearing an Intellivision shirt. Doesn't that just look bad?
Who cares? Who cares what it looks like? Who cares if some negative haters on the
No, forget negative haters, forget all that. I am just a normal person looking for information on Intellivision.
Okay.
And I go.
I'm not saying you're a negative hater. I'm saying people who make fun of Rich. Who cares? Right.
But see, you're not. Let me try to rephrase this.
Okay, you're asking me the question. I say no. That's my answer. I don't think it makes him look bad or me suspicious if he wears an Intellivision shirt while he's interviewing the CEO of Intellivision. I don't think it looks bad. Just like if somebody was interviewing the quarterback of the New England Patriots and they were wearing a Patriots shirt, I don't think that looks bad either, especially when Rich wears Sony shirts. He wears Xbox. I've seen him wear a bunch of different shirts. So it's not like he's biased towards Intellivision, but if somebody's going to interview, again, let's say a baseball player, and they're wearing a Yankees hat and they're interviewing a Yankees player, do I think that person is biased and that they look bad? No, I think they're having a little fun.
Difference of opinion. I guess we'll agree to disagree.
No worries. That's okay. You know what? That's okay. We're not going to agree on everything. So you asked me a question, I gave you my thought.
Let me scan the chat real quick. I just gotta say we don't like each other. We've had our differences, but I appreciate that you did do this. You are willing to answer the questions that people are saying.
How about this, Tony? How about we stop not liking each other? How about that? How about we put all our differences and awful things we've said, and how about we put that under the bridge? And again, I have no problem with that. I'm not here to make enemies. Would you be okay with that?
I will tell you this: I will not. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not here to not be your friend. What I do on my way, I have to be unbiased. I can't. I would love if I was just some normal person. Sure, I would say, hey, bury it. I'm not gonna, whatever. But I have to be unbiased. If I see something that I say, hey, you know what, this Amico YouTube video doesn't look good, I'm gonna let people know. I don't think that it looks good.
So you don't think that journalists and politicians could ever be friends because they would never be. I mean, that's up to you to decide, right? I mean, there's been a lot of people who I like and who are my friends who question some of the things about Amico, and they question it publicly. That doesn't mean we can't be friends afterwards. that's up to you to decide as a journalist.
Right, and it would be hypocritical of me to go ahead after, and saying the things I said about Rich and review text, then go ahead and say, nah, you know what, it's fine. So
again, that's your prerogative, that's your decision. All I'm saying, I don't think that being biased is up to you. So if you want to be a friend or hate somebody and interview somebody, you don't have to be middle of the road. When you conduct the interview, then you can get into whatever mode you want. But when the cameras are shut off, there's no law that says you can't be friends or like or dislike that person. That's all I'm saying.
And I'm just saying, for me, in my personal ethics, anybody I'm interviewing, anybody I am going to write articles about, or anything I'm going to investigate and look into, I can't be their friend. I would love to. Well, I would love to have more friends, but.
All right. Well, I think that's a little weird, but that's okay. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it or whatever. I'm giving you my honest opinion. We're having a chat. I think that's a little strange if you ask me, but that's okay. That's your prerogative.
Seems the chat doesn't agree with me.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sure some of them do. I'm sure the backwards Tommy Tallarico. He agrees with everything.
All right,
anything negative.
Let's move on to something spicy, Tommy.
Sure. Oh, wait, hold on. This shit wasn't spicy. Okay, we gotta get spicy.
Yeah.
Shit. I thought all this other stuff. Now I'm curious. Go ahead.
The Evel Knievel and the emoji game.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about this.
So, you don't think it was misleading to have footage from previously released trailers? You don't. So,
nope.
A gameplay reveal trailer for the Amico using gameplay from other trailers on non-Amico hardware isn't misleading.
Didn't you see did you read the first thing on that trailer? What did it say? Read it to me right now.
It said, I don't know, I don't have it pulled up, but I know it said it was games works in progress.
Let me pull it up for you. Let me pull it up for you now.
Go ahead, you can pull it up and let me know the exact wording.
I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna show you the exact wording. Hold on a second. Intellivision, boom, and I'm gonna put up VIP announcement, boom, and I'm gonna reverse it. And what does this say here? It says Intellivision Amico. It says incomplete, early, work in progress, gameplay, demos.
Okay, but those particular games, none of that footage was early, incomplete, Amico hardware.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Wait, where did I say that this was running on Amico? Where did I say in the description? I'm very, very specific. If you look on any of the Meet Amico videos or any of the videos, I will specifically say this is Astro Smash. This is running on Amico hardware. Nowhere in the description of that video did I say that, because of those two games. Right? There's actually 3 games.
4, if I'm being honest.
There might have been a 4th game. I don't. I thought there was 3, but maybe you're right. No, because the racing game.
Right.
Well, actually, no, that one.
There's
the other one.
Evel Knievel, the emoji game.
Yeah.
Nitro Derby.
Yeah.
And the AD&D Dungeons and Dragons game had X, Y, B, and A input buttons, but you previously said that the Amico doesn't have lettered buttons, so that had to be.
Yeah, but that's because it's an early test, and they don't have the controller yet, so they play on the keyboard, and they play on. You can hook up Microsoft. You can hook up Xbox control. A lot of our games, before some folks have our actual controller, they're actually playing them with Xboxes on their emulators. You can hook up Bluetooth to our board, and so you can play Xbox on Xbox controllers with our skiing game. You can do that too.
So then you send out dev kits with boards and everything. They're not using emulated software in the computers.
Of course.
You say that, Tommy, but it's an of course to you. People are just wondering. I'm asking.
Oh, no, I am. Again, and I'm not pissed off at you. I'm not saying, like, you idiot, what do you fucking say? No, I'm just saying, yes, they are. When I say it in the videos, that's what I mean. And in that video, I didn't describe it as that. These were early gameplay demos, unfinished, untapped, and the Evel Knievel game is going to have more levels, more vehicles, better controls, more music, better art. We have a whole bunch of multiplayer, couch co-op. We have literally the whole game is going to be, enhanced.
Okay, but so you don't see that using the footage that wasn't any.
No, it's a game that's coming on our system.
When
I never claimed that this is running on Amico.
You just cut out. I didn't hear you.
I said I never claimed that game footage that we showed was running on an Amico. I never claimed it.
I guess that's the assumption people make when they see Amico gameplay.
Well, I can't help it if people are assuming things. It's not my job to try to control every single assumption that haters are going to make.
I would take. That's literally what you do, though, Tommy. You try to control everything that haters and critics say. So for you to say that, it's kind of
funny. Give me an example. If people say wrong information, then I correct. I mean, what's
you cut out again.
I said when people say wrong information, I correct them. What is wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is when people criticize the system, you also correct them. So I would think that you would at least
people have their own opinions. You see me leave this all the time. In the comments, you'll always see me say, hey, look, maybe the system's not for you. That's okay. I say that all the time. Again, just go back the last couple of videos from today. And the people were critical in the thing. I say, okay, maybe the system's not for you. That's cool.
But sometimes the system could be for them. They could also be critical.
I think that's true. I think that's going to be true, what you said there. I think they are going to like it. But if I try to convince them now, if I try to say, you know what, you're wrong, you're going to like it, then, it's a no-win situation for me, Tony. You see what I'm saying?
But I'm saying, isn't it also a no-win situation for you to say anything? Couldn't you just leave it be? When your real marketing starts, they'll change their mind.
No, it's not my personality. I'm sorry. I don't care if you don't like it. Too bad. That's my personality.
I understand. I totally agree. I'm the same way. I'm just
okay. Like you said. Remember, Tony, you told me once it was in a chat or a message we exchanged. Remember when you told me that one time that you said, you know what? I piss a lot of people off. You said I'm a journalist, but I'm a hard-hitting guy and this and that. Remember when you said that to me?
Yeah, I do.
Well, I'm the same way. So we're brethren like that. So you, out of anybody in the world, should understand what I do and how I do it. That's okay.
I understand why you do it, how you do it, and where you do it. But the thing is, you're a CEO and I'm not. I piss people off. I don't get an interview.
You know what? But in television is a different kind of thing. We're shaking it up, man. We are shaking it the hell up. I'm not going to be like we're going to do everything different. And we're the underdog. Right? Where is IGN? Where is Polygon? Where's Kotaku? How come they're not talking about a brand new video game system that's coming out?
Because they're very bad journalists.
Where are they? Right?
They're not good at their job, Tommy. You know that. I mean, I know you don't want. I won't.
That's for you. That's for you to talk about other journalists and your business. That's for you. I'm not going to go there.
I'm not asking you to. I'm just.
I mean, I have friends at all of those websites. But my point being is that we're doing things differently. If this was treated normally by everybody, maybe I wouldn't have to, be so vocal about certain things. If people were covering us fairly, maybe I wouldn't have to be so vocal,
But if you have friends at these places, why aren't they covering you?
Because they don't, they're not good friends. I mean, I know people at Kotaku. I wouldn't call anyone my friends. I know people at IGN very well. You know, I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I don't beg for anyone to do an interview. I asked if you want to do an interview or not. I ask people that. Sometimes they say yes. Sometimes they say no. I'm not going to, call in favors to like Dean Takahashi did a story on us today. He reached out to me on his own and said, hey, I got some questions about your pre-order. He asked me a bunch of questions. I gave him a bunch of answers, so it's like, and he put up the article this morning. So, I don't want to call in favors from people and my friends. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, but I would.
They don't want to cover it, then they're doing,
I would
have an opinion about it, but I'd rather not say public.
I would think that somebody who knows you, is a friend, sort of a friend, acquaintance, what have you,
Yeah.
would want, you know what? No one's covering this. I can cover this. People will come to the website. I'll get more views.
To be fair, people are doing that again. A bit, but a really good GameIndustry.biz. Are you familiar with that website?
Yeah.
Okay, really good stuff there. Yeah. Would you say?
Yeah.
I like a lot of their stuff. Some of it's hit and miss, but I want go look up James Brightman, who's a very high regarded journalist, and go look up his thing that he did for Intellivision Amico. Now, are we friends? Yes. Are we great friends? Do we hang out? No. But are we know each other? We respect each other? Absolutely. I've always appreciated and enjoyed his work. But he can take his friend hat off and he can do a story about Amico. So in that instance, because he was friends with me on Facebook, he found out about Amico, and then we didn't.
Let's put a pin in that because Lucas is getting very upset here in the chat.
Well, we don't want to upset Lucas. That's for damn sure.
He says many of the games we have seen are incomplete. Are any of the launch games completed and just in the polishing stages? Are dev teams working on more than one game?
Some of them are. I would say that are dev teams working on more than one time? Yes, some. Are the launch games completed and just in the polishing stages? Yeah, I would say that Shark and Skiing are probably the two closest games we have to being in the polishing stage. So yeah, we're starting to optimize. We're starting to, see, what kind of speed and frame rates we're getting. I'd put those two up there.
Okay. Let's jump back over to Evel Knievel.
Okay.
How long have they been under the Amico development umbrella, whatever you want to call it? When did you first approach them? I don't need an exact date. 3 months ago, 4 months ago, whatever have you.
No, I would say I'd have to go back and check my emails to give you an exact date, but I'd say I'd probably say maybe 4 or 5 months.
And in that 4 or 5 months, has any work been done to improve the game so that it wouldn't be on Amico?
Yep.
So then why didn't you use that footage?
Because I like the other ones better.
Huh?
Because like a lot of times in development, Tony, when you put stuff over, when you first put stuff over, like on our dev boards, because of the way they did it for mobile, might be a completely different way in our architecture. For example, we have 8 cores in our architecture running off a 1.8 gigahertz processor. So a lot of the ways when you develop video games, you really try to do stuff specifically for that exact platform that you're working for. So example, when we did Earthworm Jim on the Sega Genesis, we approached everything much differently. Same game, but much differently. The way when you talk to the metal, when you're programming and you do your deep dives, you talk to the systems in a different way. So a lot of times when games first get going and put over, they don't run smooth. There's stuff broken. The wheels don't spin because of maybe the way they were using a certain core that they would do differently on our platform. So the game wasn't in a spot to use that. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I mean, if the game wasn't ready to be shown, that's all, people are wondering because you use the old footage.
Yeah. Fair question.
And I'm assuming that must be the same way for the emoji game and the
Yep.
and what is it, Nitro Derby?
I mean, the Nitro Derby game is running on a completely 100% now.
And how have you?
It's awesome. I can't wait for you to play it. You're gonna love it.
I know that the Nitro Derby is a VR game originally.
No, it's not.
Really, because the company
It was a VR game. It was a demo that was done in VR. It wasn't a game that was going to be put out on VR ever. It was just a demo.
That's not what I was told by the company.
Well,
and I could show. I could
tell me that they never spoke to you. So
here, hold on.
You didn't speak to Finn Staber, who's the CEO.
No, I spoke to the company that commissioned the demo. Hold on.
Yeah, you didn't speak to anyone at Chicken Waffle. They're the ones who made the game.
1 second. All right, the people from Tech, they said that Chicken Waffle created Nitro Derby. It should be compatible with our race car seats or an Xbox controller. We don't have a testing date, but Tech will be the first place to play this game. That is the email they sent me.
Well, they gave you information. What can I tell you?
You can just tell me they gave me wrong information.
The person you want to talk to is Finn Staber, this Chicken Waffle person who owns the game, the person who created the game. You want to talk to him and ask him if that game's going to be anywhere else except in Intellivision Amico. I'll give you his email address if you'd like.
Yeah, you can do that.
You got that information there.
But like I said, I'm just going off of what.
Question to the wrong person.
Well, I just asked them because there was Tech logos inside the Nitro Derby demo.
Yeah, that was a demo.
So
they did at a previous thing that never came out, that they are now porting exclusively on Intellivision because he's a huge fan of me. He's a huge fan of Earthworm Jim. He's a huge fan of Intellivision Amico.
And like I said, how's that going from VR to regular?
I don't understand the question. What do you mean? How's it going from?
Well, the demo that shows, the VR demo shows that the screen moving. I'm assuming that has to do with the person wearing the VR stuff.
So the game was done in Unity. Okay, that's the game engine. If you're familiar, I don't know if you. That's a game engine. It was developed in Unity. In Unity, you can output to PlayStation 4. You can output to mobile. You can output to Nintendo Switch, whatever, right?
Right.
But the game was built in Unity, so you can also output to VR. VR means what happens is it doubles the game, because in your left and right eye that's how you get VR, is that you have to have two physical streams happening at once.
Right. So, well, what I'm saying is the camera, Tommy, the camera was like moving left and right as if somebody was moving their head left and right. Does that make sense? I'm wondering, is the camera going to be static, or is it still going to have?
The camera's going to be the way we have it working is that the camera focuses on all four cars, and then once a car starts to fall behind, it's a very smart camera angle. This was written only for Intellivision Amico, and the camera starts to pan back so that fourth car is always in. And then when the cars get close, the camera pans in so that you can see those four cars, and it's always moving around, and it's kind of floating a little bit. It's really cool. It's not like an overhead game where it's just completely overhead and you just see in the whole track and you see the cars. The camera actually follows the cars as they go and zooms in, and depending on the action, a very interactive camera angle available exclusively on the Intellivision Amico.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. So, Dorkalicious wants to know about Cloudy Mountain.
Dorkalicious? I love Dorkalicious. What does she want to?
Probably everything, but I don't see anything specific.
No, I've already interviewed Dorkalicious. We did a great interview. She had a whole bunch of tough questions, and I answered all of her questions. But do you have Where is she? What she want to know? I love her.
She just said talk about Cloudy Mountain.
I'm sorry, say that again?
She just said talk about Cloudy Mountain. It would be more interesting.
Oh, talk about Cloudy Mountain. Cloudy Mountain is being developed by one of our best studios because it's such an important game for us because everybody loves, all of the retro fans love Cloudy Mountain from the old days.
Can I jump in real quick?
Sure.
Okay, because in the Cloudy Mountain footage that you've shown, the overhead map, it had a very RPG Maker look to it. Is that what you guys are using to build this, or?
Nope.
Okay.
It's funny because I did hear people say that, and everybody thinks they're a genius. Oh, that looks like this. That was done in that. And by the way, who cares if it was? Let's say for a second that it was. Who cares? What's the difference if it's made in Game Maker or if it's made in Unity or if it's made in some brand new engine that no one's ever heard about? Is the game fun or not?
Well, I would say if it was made in RPG Maker, it would give people who have the system and have RPG Maker to be able to make maybe their own stages, their own levels, you know.
I mean, people can make games for us in Game Maker. Again, it doesn't matter. You can make it in anything you could write a game in BASIC if you wanted to.
No, but I'm saying the RPG Maker specifically, it's a program and a game that you could buy, like say off of Steam or off their website, and make your own games. If your game was made in the same system, then someone like me, I could make a stage, import it into the Amico, and then I'd have an extra stage. You see what I'm saying?
Not happening. That is not what's happened.
So are you going to have any DLC?
Nope. Dorkalicious just asked, are the overworld map this is a great question. Are they procedurally generated like game? So the original Intellivision game was really amazing and ahead of its time because every time you went into a cave, it was procedurally generated, meaning if you walked out and walked back in, you'd get a whole different thing every single time you played. If you shut the game off, turn it on. And that's a great question she asked. Is that going to be the same in ours? And the answer she's going to love to hear is yes, it is.
And to piggyback off that, how procedurally generated is it going to be? Like you already have, say, 200 maps and it's just going to grab a random one, or is it going to piece together a map every time?
No, it pieces together the maps once you go inside.
No. And that's going to have multiplayer, 4-player, 6.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying how many? Are we talking 2-player? Are we talking 4-player?
4. 4 players. Because when you get 8 players with all bow and arrows on a space like that, it's too much. We do have a lot of 8-player games, but that's not one. You're welcome, Dorkalicious.
I think Lucas had another question in the chat. It says, do you think some of the trailers would look better and get fewer criticisms if dev teams focus on getting one game done, then move on to the next one?
When I say that developers are working on multiple games, I don't mean the same exact people, obviously. So developers that we're working with have 5, 6, 7 different teams. So when a developer is working on 2 games, obviously they're not, oh, we're going to work on Shark this week and Cornhole the next week. No.
Well, I guess that answers that.
That answers that, right?
Yeah. So here's a good one. You're taking pre-orders.
I can't wait.
You're taking pre-orders. You're taking $100 down. But previously you said that you would not take any money unless the console was available for people to play already. And I got your exact quote. Here's your exact quote. It says, unlike others.
We're not.
It says, unlike others, we would never ask for money until you had a chance to play the system and the games.
Yep. Uh-huh.
But isn't taking the $100 taking people's money? I mean, they don't have it no more. I mean, you haven't spent it, they can get it back.
And if they wanted to get it back tonight, we'd give it to 100% refund difference.
Right, but
There's a big difference between taking people's money on a Kickstarter and that keeping your fingers crossed, or an Indiegogo, keeping your fingers crossed that maybe they'll get something. No, a down payment, 100% refundable at any time down payment is completely different from some kind of Kickstarter. And that's what I was referring to when I answered that question.
I mean, I understand it, but you could see how people may have misconstrued what you said.
I don't care. I don't care what negative people misconstrue me. I don't give a shit.
But it wasn't negative people that asked me that.
What's that?
It wasn't negative people that asked me to ask that question. It was very positive people.
It's a fair question. Again, I'm not busting your balls. I'm not pissed off. I'm just, I'm giving folks crap because they like try to take something that I say and twist it against me to try to trap me in some kind of lie or mistruth or some kind of gotcha moment. And so, it's just kind of funny to me. That's all.
Well, you have to admit, you say a lot of things that, I mean, unless I have your information, I don't know if you're just saying them or if you're just trying to make it hype.
So what? So what?
So you call people liars.
So why would people get upset about it?
Because you call them liars.
I'm not lying to people.
Well, no, you call them liars. Let me give you an example. Okay.
Okay.
We were discussing on the Atari age about Intellivision baseball. And I said that people would rather play a licensed baseball game than a Intellivision baseball with no license. Then you came in and you called me a liar saying, how do I know you don't have the MLB license? And that in March, he said in March you would have a big announcement, and here it is in April, and I've heard nothing about Intellivision Major League Baseball.
I don't care. So
when you called me a liar, was I lying?
Yes. No, you weren't lying because you didn't know.
Okay, so were you lying when you said that you had the license? Because now you said you don't have the license.
I never said I didn't have the license.
The last thing I seen you say on it was if, and that had what quotation marks, if we had the license.
Because Tony, what if, let's do a what if scenario. What if I did have the license, and what if we had a huge plan to do a press release, a joint press release that was going to go out to 20 million people on mailing with social media. What if that was the case?
Then you should say no comment.
But I like to have a little fun.
But I'm saying, let's say that you're in talks with Major League Baseball, right?
I tell you what, Tony. I'll tell you what. If I don't have the Major League Baseball license, you can call me. How about that? And you can shout it from the mountaintop.
But I'm saying, let's say that you're in negotiations with them, right? And then it falls through.
And that's not the case.
But I'm saying, for instance, it falls through. And then people are going to go back and say, wait a minute, was Tommy lying when he said that they had it?
And that's why, Tony, I would never say anything like, if I didn't already know. Never say anything like that.
I mean, you know.
How's that for a clue?
Yeah, but you don't see how that's a trust me, dude. You know what?
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. People can either trust me because I've never lied about anything. They can either trust me or they can call me a liar. I don't care.
Well, that's fair, I guess. I mean,
yeah. And the Retro Advisory Board just said something very important there. Sometimes by closure about MLB's participation, but MLB just canceled, half their season, or they're pushing it back a month. So maybe there's a bit delayed because of that.
Right. And I totally understand that. But I'm just saying.
I would say Retro Advisory Board is very, very smart guy. And here's what else I'll tell you, Tony. Here's what else I'll tell you. I'll say, watch the airways, my friend. By the end of April, I'm going to have a lot of mic drop moments. Let's just say that. At the end of April, people are going to start taking us a lot more serious.
Sneaky V wants to know, why aren't you pushing the release date back to 2021 because of the pandemic?
That's a good question. So I'll tell you where we are exactly. Sit here today, Saturday. What is it? It is April 4th on Saturday night. Let me give you literally the up to the minute thing on that. So what a lot of people, and if you give me a minute or two to kind of get a little deep in the weeds on this, I'd appreciate it, because there's kind of, you want to kind of get it all.
Right.
But I don't want to seem like I'm, talking over or whatever. But I'll try to be as quick as I can. So basically, most of the manufacturing plants in China are up to about 50 to 60% right now. And what happens is, when we lost that first, everybody lost that, 4 to 6 weeks. What that does is, all of the big boys, and I say Samsung and Apple and all these things that order things by the millions, they come in and they take over all the factories. Now, all of us also know that China isn't really known to be the most,
upfront, honest.
You know what I'm talking about. Okay, I don't want to get myself in trouble, but because I have a lot of friends over there too. But they're gonna go where the money goes, right? And so what's happening in China right now is that a lot of people, this is the worst year that this could have happened with this coronavirus in regards to electronics, because a lot of the new versions of cell phones were coming out this year. Take the Samsung S20, for example. A lot of the new video game systems were coming out this year. Holy crap. Literally the worst year ever for this to happen, and here we are, right? And
right.
So, but aside from the manufacturing, what also happens is, like the toilet paper and like the masks that we're seeing now, is that everybody starts to panic in the electronics world. They're buying all the components, and that's driving the price up, because it's driving the scarcity up. So for us, how does it affect us? Well, we're not Sony and Microsoft, right? So we have very specific timelines, very specific investing timelines and milestones that we have to hit. And so what happens is, because of the scarcity, people could come to me in a month and say, hey, Tommy, guess what? We got bad news. Now, what we thought where the system was going to be $199 or $229, guess what? All the parts and components and memory have gone so far up that now the machine, we're going to have to put it out for $299. And you know what I'd say to that, Tony? I'd say, screw it. We're going to hold it then. We're going to hold it till the prices go back down, because I'm not going to go over $249. No, period, end of story. So right now, our tooling costs about $250,000. That's the tooling cost in order to create an Amico, and a line on a Chinese factory floor, a line that you spend $250,000 on tooling. We can crank out 35,000 Amicos a month. Okay, now we were going to start pretty slow, and Dean Takahashi's story today talks about this, where we were expecting to walk before we run. So we were thinking, you know what, let's start really slow. We'll get like 25,000 units out there, 50,000 units maybe by this Christmas, and then we'll kind of ramp up from there. Well, we got such and that was worldwide, we got such an overwhelming amount of purchase orders from major retailers. Just in the United States, we have over 100,000 pre-orders. We had to stop, not pre-orders, let me say that, purchase orders. And so we had to stop. We had to say, look, we can't give you any more, because we don't think we can even manufacture 100,000 at this point. Now, if we wanted to run a second line of manufacturing, that would cost us another $250,000 in tooling. Now we could do 70,000 a month on 2 lines. Then you have to make that 250,000 and add that to the cost of the machine. And how does that work? And the profit margin, which are, a lot of this stuff is very slim. So that's where we are right now, Tony, is that we're able to get, as of today, we can still come out with a limited amount of machines on October 10th, 10/10/2020. But as everybody knows, unfortunately, people are saying we're just starting to get into this problem. Here in the US, we're at the beginning. People are saying it's going to last another month, maybe 2 months. We're going to see the death toll rise. People are going to be going out of business, losing their job, unemployment. We haven't even seen the worst of it yet. Holy crap. So I can't sit here and honestly tell you, Tony, the machine's definitely going to come out on 10/10. What I can tell you is right now, it is still scheduled to come out with a limited amount of devices. And that's the most honest answer, and not a single CEO. See how I'm different? You ask that question to Nintendo CEO or Phil Spencer at Microsoft or
you give me that interview.
You ask them if they would have gave you that answer. But I was honest with you, was not.
I'm going to say you are, but I'm taking you at your word, Tommy.
Well, again, what do you think I was lying about?
I don't know. But
no.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know. That's why,
All right.
That's just the kind of, I don't ever take anybody at their word. I mean, you can go and talk to Vera Dark. She'll let you know.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, this is just average. It's not every single piece of electronic is being delayed.
Right. I know. I'm just saying. It's just the way I am. When someone asks, am I lying? Unless I have information, I can't, I don't think you're lying, but I can't say 100% that you're not.
Well, off the record, I think that's a weak trait you have.
I've been told that before.
It's much better to love and be positive than to always be skeptical about everything anyone says to you. But whatever, everybody lives different lives. Who knows? What's the saying? Some people see the cup half full, and I'm a half guy.
I'm a cup is full. Half of it's water, half of it's air.
All right, well, there you go. Different strokes.
All right. Speaking of the manufacturing and all that, let's say that you do have a limited run, and all those Amicos end up in the hands of hardcore retro gamers, what have you. Are you going to pivot your whole? Are you going to still go with the same target audience, or are you going to pivot now that these people?
No, of course, but see, our marketing would change, right? Like let's say we were only able to put out 10,000 or 15,000, say, or let's say 30,000, 35,000 units. Let's say, right? Let's say we only have that, and we didn't have to spend any marketing dollar whatsoever to go after that family audience. Then why would we spend money when we don't have the hardware to supply that? So we would just wait. We'd wait till we get in more units, and when we felt comfortable, because the way marketing dollars work, Tony, you might have seen, like if you ever watch Shark Tank or anything like that, they say, what is your customer acquisition dollar amount? The sharks always want to know how much, what kind of research and have you done for you to say how much, how much dollars and cents is it going to cost you to get a new customer? And we know that number, and it's not a number that we feel that I'm going to share with anyone tonight. And so we know what that number is, and what we do is if we say, okay, we have 35,000 units, but they're already gone. Okay, well, we don't have to spend any money in marketing. Great, let's not waste our money. And then when we get another 50,000, and we say, you know what, we want to put these in, let's say, a Walmart. Okay, fine. Then Walmart, we're going to spend money at Walmart to make sure we're either at an end cap unit, or we do part of an email blast or a Sunday circular, whatever. They charge people for that, or to be on the front page of Walmart.com. And none of that stuff's free. It's part of the marketing package. So we know what that number is, and we'll spend accordingly, depending on how many units we have.
But what I'm saying is, you're really good at sometimes missing the question in the question.
No, I'm just giving you answers you don't want to hear, but go ahead.
No. I'm going to agree to disagree on that. But what I'm asking is, let's say you ship out 35,000 units. They're all in the hands of retro, hardcore, the majority. We won't say all. We'll say 70%.
Did we spend any marketing money?
No. You're not. Let me get to the question.
Okay.
The question is, now that they're in these hands of these people that are hardcore retro gamers and not casual people, and they're loving it. They're telling their friends, this is the new system. Are you going to still go after that family market, even though that the buzz around the system? Okay, so you're never going to change. It's always on message.
Never going to change. Together again, baby. Together again.
Now, I got like 4 pages of questions that people sent me. So
keep them coming.
I'm just letting you know in case you hear the stuff moving.
No worries.
All right. Someone asked about motion controls. They want to know how accurate, do you have them? Are they working at this time? Because we know that when the Switch came out, the motion controls were not that great. They had to have the little adapter to make them better.
You mean you're talking about the Wii?
No, the Wii. Yeah, you're right. I'm tired.
Yeah, the Wii uses a different type of thing that we do because they had that RF. Remember that RF thing you had to set up?
Right.
Remember the RF bar? Did you ever have a Wii, Tony?
No, I never had a Wii. I haven't had a Nintendo system since the Super Nintendo.
Okay. Well, the way the Wii worked is you had to set up an RF bar across the top of your TV. So they were tracking things, and that was so that when you took the hand, so they had a gyroscope and I don't know if they had they had a gyroscope and accelerometer, I believe.
That's my understanding.
But what that RF strip did is it enabled it to be a pointer on screen. We do not have that part. We don't have that RF strip. We just have an accelerometer and a gyroscope. And yes, they work beautifully. We've been playing cornhole for the last week, loving it.
And so
on our controller.
So you're not going to be able to use the controllers as like a mouse. There's going to be no pointer feature.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, no, that's not true. Wait, hold on. That actually, because yes, we can use the touch screen. We can't use the motion controls to do that. The motion controls are just for input. But if you look on our Missile Command Amico video television YouTube channel, you'll see where people can put their thumb on the screen of the controller, and it shows the reticle up on the screen. So yeah, you can do it like that, not with the motion controls, but you can do it in a different way, which is even cooler.
Right, but I don't know if you have a PlayStation 4. You could actually do that in the PlayStation 4. Use the controller as a mouse and move it around with the motion controls.
Yeah, how's that work? It sucks. I played all those games. They're terrible. Have you played those games?
You know what? I don't play those kind of games.
Yeah. Well, here's another one, Tony, that a lot of people will bring up to me, and I'd like to quickly because it's the same thing. A lot of people say, "Well, hey, you can already hook up your mobile devices to a PlayStation 4." And I say to those people, "Have you ever played those games? Because I have, and every one of them sucks."
Darkalicious wants to know that when the NES launched, they did an initial test launch in New York City before doing a full launch. Was something like that considered for the Amico?
No, I think we live in a different world. These days. The original Intellivision was only when it came out in 1979. It was to a very small area around Central California, and then in 1980 it got released to the rest of the U.S. So no, we haven't decided. We're not doing that just because our Founders Edition and our VIP orders have already I think 22 countries we have or 20, 23, 20, 30. I don't know. I'd have to ask my guy, but yeah. So we're going to be distributing all over the world from day one just with the Founders Edition. Fresno, thank you, Retro Advisory Board. He's a very knowledgeable person. Yes, I was trying to remember the area, and that's why I said Central California. I couldn't remember the name Fresno, but you're right.
And from my understanding, you got like 10,000 VIP orders, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Not bad in 5 days, right?
I've never launched anything.
With zero advertising spent.
The question that I had about that was, is there any particular region that has ordered most?
Yeah, the United States has the most. Canada's number 2, Germany's number 3, and the UK's number 4. Well, we have some like crazy, like we have a lot up in New Zealand and Australia. We have orders from India, the Middle East. We have orders in, actually, I think the 5th place is Italy, in fact, which was surprising. But yeah, so we got all over the place. Brazil, Chile, Peru, Mexico, of course.
And to piggyback off that, are you targeting more of an English language audience with what they might be more comfortable with, like a Western type audience, or are you going to have games?
We do every one of our games. You'll be able to set up Amico, just like similar to the other consoles. So you'll be able to do English, French, Castilian Spanish, which is what they speak in Spain. Mexico, Latino, more Latino Spanish, German, and Italian. Those are the and then we're also for certain things in certain regions. We're also doing Arabic in the Middle East and Chinese as well.
Traditional Chinese or Mandarin?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that. I could ask my folks and get back to you, but I'm not sure. I would imagine it would be traditional. I don't know. What's the one? Because I don't know enough about Chinese language, but what's the one that like people just speak like every day, as opposed to like because I think we're like it's conversational Chinese. I think that's whatever that one is.
Yeah, we'll just go with that because I don't know the answer either.
Yeah. Okay. Retrovirus or Mandarin. Sure, that's what it would be, Mandarin.
And to piggyback off that, you didn't actually answer what I asked, but it's fine.
What's that?
What I'm saying is the games, the development of the games, are they going to be catered towards a Western audience? Because I know you said in the past you don't like the anime aesthetic, you don't like pixel art. Mm-hmm. So are your games going to be
personally? But that doesn't mean we won't have a game like that. I just personally don't like that. But and the reason we don't like pixel art initially on the launch of the system is that we don't want to confuse people. We don't want to think it's an old school game. I think eventually we'll have pixel art games. I just don't want to launch with them. But I'm glad you asked that question. I appreciate the follow up because I wasn't understanding the initial question entirely. So absolutely, Tony, 100%. Boy, I tell you, I'm glad you brought this up because I don't talk about this a lot. But the reality is that one of the things that annoys me about the video game industry is that they don't cater to different cultures, right?
Right.
Everything's either Japanese, Chinese, or American, or English or whatever, right? Where's all the Latino games, right? And so what Samba de Amigo? I mean, come on, so the Latino culture, the African American culture is, like what we're doing is we're getting folks in Mexico to create games based around their culture and what they like. Same thing in the Middle East. We've met with some of the biggest licenses that people here never even heard of. But we've met with the people who created the biggest cartoon in the Middle East, and some of the biggest developers over there, and we're putting money into them to say, you know what, we want to pay attention to you because no one else is. So I'm glad you asked that question because that's a big mission of ours.
Any particular the Latino market is something that I'm interested personally because that's what I am. So anything particular?
Oh, cool. What's your background, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm Mexican.
Mexican? Oh, yeah. Great. So there's going to be games like if you grew up in Latino. I don't know. Do you speak Spanish?
I don't speak Spanish, no.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But yeah, if you grew up in that culture, there's going to be stuff for you. Well, I'm not sure if it'll be on launch, but I can tell you though that some of the educational games that we have for kids, you choose right at the beginning, Spanish or English. So even the characters that are speaking to you will speak to you in Spanish. That's pretty cool.
So you think you're gonna have some like language learning games then?
Oh, for sure. Well, not like you would think. Not like the Switch has that great Japanese speaking thing. Not something like that. It's more for like smaller kids, letters and numbers and things like that. I mean, eventually I'd like to see that kind of stuff there, but nothing that we're working on like that's hardcore like that just yet. To eventually though.
And what about the Latin American culture? Because a lot of people mistake that like Latinos from Mexico and the South America are the same as Latin American culture, and it's
very different.
Yeah, it is
very different. So check this out, Tony. I don't know how much you know about my history, but I'm a I'm a pretty big deal in Brazil and Chile. So I love the culture down there. I've been playing video games live down there in Brazil for 14 years. I have a huge following for the show. Anyone can go on YouTube right now, put in Video Games Live Brazil or Video Games Live Chile. In fact, on my own channel, if you put in Chile audience Video Games Live, you will see a 12-minute standing ovation of 3,000 Chileans screaming at the top of their lungs, chanting. And what they're saying in the language is F no, we won't go. And they're not saying F. I'm just being, I'm holding back there. But and so I know that I'm very, very familiar with that culture. I'm very good friends with many people down there. And you're absolutely right. It's a different thing. And absolutely, we're catering to our friends down in Brazil and Chile. They are such passionate people. And people don't even realize when we do our video games live shows, and I've done over 520 performances in 43 countries around the world, and I don't mind saying that the best, loudest, most passionate fans in the world that we've performed are in Brazil and Chile. So yes, they will be getting attention paid to them like no other game company has before.
All right. One more question from the audience that was sent in to me. They want to know, why didn't you build the brand of Amico or Intellivision, however you want to put it, before actually making a console? So why didn't you just create some really good games, create a controller peripheral, put them on all the major consoles, get people interested in Intellivision again, then come out with a system?
Because I think that's a dumb idea. Do you want to know why I think it's a dumb idea?
That's pretty much the question. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a dumb idea because our games, and again, people aren't going to start to realize this until they play the games with our controller. But the way our controller is, people don't understand yet. The games that we're creating are being created around our controller and around our system. We cannot make games that will play on the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox or the Switch. The games that we're making cannot be played or developed on those systems. Period. End of story. And Pat can whine, and Pat and Ian can whine all they want. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. And he can bitch at me on Twitter all he wants, but he's still wrong and ignorant because he hasn't played the games. Now, the people who have, Smash JT, John Riggs, Metal Jesus, whatever, there's a slew of others. Right. The people who have played them would agree with me and go, oh, okay, there's things on here that you can't, I get it now, So that's why, because what we're doing is something very unique and different. People aren't buying Switches, and we're going to go back to our first argument maybe, but families aren't buying Switches. That's it.
Well, what I'm saying is, so what it sounds like to me,
only 2% of the people who play video games play on a Switch.
Right.
So
right.
Clearly, there's a reason for that.
But what I'm saying, because it sounds like to me,
why would we want to make games where only 2% of people are playing on it? I don't want to do that.
But what it sounds like to me, and I could be wrong, and you can correct me on this,
Okay.
but it sounds like to me it's not the hardware that's the issue, it's the controller. So I'm saying, why couldn't you create the controller, make it compatible with, say, a PlayStation 4, then you could play your games with the controller that you've created specifically for them.
But what the hell's the difference? If you have a base unit, theirs base unit, or our base unit, you'd still have to go out and buy hardware. What's the difference?
Well, it would be a cheaper hardware, because I'm assuming the controller would be cheaper than buying a base unit with controllers.
I can show you market research all day long, Tony. I mean, let's use Nintendo Wii as an example. The Nintendo Wii was $249 14 years ago. With inflation, that's the equivalent of $317. So people 14 years ago were willing to spend $317 back then just to play Wii bowling. 30% of the people who purchased a Wii never bought another game for it, because Nintendo didn't really cater hard to them. You know, they were coming out with Metroid Prime, a game I worked on with Miyamoto for 5 years. They were doing Pikmin, Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Smash Brothers. You know, they cater to their audience. No other hardware company caters to their audience better than Nintendo does. They are the kings. They know what they're doing. They know their audience, and they feed them the red meat all day long. You know, so people have already spent that money already. So I'm not worried about. And again, do we really want to put that out there? Do we really want to say, hey, play our video game system and pay $50 for this controller? But wait a second. But we want multiple controllers. That's the whole idea of the system, is to bring people together. We're not going to sell one controller. Say, okay, well, Tommy, why don't you sell two controllers? Because two controllers isn't what we're doing. Because we have that base unit, you're now able to hook up 8 mobile devices if you wanted to. You can have 8 players out of the box. That's our whole deal. We want a family of 4 to be able to play, to come together. Now, if we're selling controllers for $50-$60 each, and you say, well, I want my family to play, well, that's $200. That doesn't make sense. Let's sell you the whole console out of the box, hook up mobile for free. People can download it and play it. So that's our goal. It seems to make sense to me, but maybe it doesn't make sense to other people. That's okay.
I mean, I would just think that personally that, it would be a really good demonstration to everybody that, look, you do need the controller, because
wait, but hold on. Who's everybody? The negative elitists who hate the thing?
No, just the normal elitists.
Point to them? Screw them.
Well, not everybody is a negative elitist. Some people just, we haven't tried it, we don't know it.
I'm saying the people who make the noise about it are the ones that are being hypercritical. If a normal person, forget the internet for a second, or message boards, or Reddit, a normal person, if they see something that doesn't interest them, they certainly don't go on message board. You go, oh my God, that's not the average person. That is an elitist, hardcore, negative person.
A lot of people get on Reddit and Twitter that are just normal people. I think, negativity is what the internet is built around.
Well, good. And those people don't have to buy my machine. I don't care. I'm not trying to get that crowd.
All right, someone sent this in. Where in the store would Amico go? I mean,
Right alongside the PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox.
So you were able to successfully get shelf space away from those companies, or did Walmart and them just create new shelf space? Because I used to work in retail, and I know that all those spaces.
How tough it is, right?
Right, and I know that all those spaces are usually
how tough it is
paid for in advance.
Store shelves.
Right.
But you're asking me a question. You're asking me a question I don't know the answer to. You'd have to ask Walmart. I don't know if they created new shelf space. Not that we're officially saying I'm in Walmart. I'm not saying that. You never know. But I don't know how they're. They don't tell me. I don't ask them either. I just, as long as we get ours, I don't say, hey, did you like push Microsoft out of the way for us? I don't ask that question. That would be insulting. So no, I don't know the answer to that.
Well, I used to work for Walmart, so I know
Okay.
for a fact that those spaces are paid for in advance, and there is no we're gonna move you out. That's why I said create new space, because Sony and Microsoft, I'm sure, have already have a deal where we get 3 shelves, we get 3 spots, 3 slots.
Yeah,
whatever.
but you have to understand though, Tony, the times are changing this year, right? So those 3 shelves, like Nintendo, you probably know if you follow the news, gaming news, Nintendo Switches are already sold out now. People can't get them. So if Walmart had 3 shelf spaces for the Nintendo Switch, well, they're freaking empty right now. So
yeah, but that doesn't matter, Tommy. If Nintendo's paid for 3 shelf spots, even if there's no Nintendo Switches on there, those are still their spots, and Walmart can't just put something else in it.
That's what I'm saying. They're empty. That's what I'm saying. They're not just going to put other shit on there. They're just empty store shelves. So again, I don't know. All I know is that shit's going to be, scarce, and the world's changing. So, where those shelf spaces used to be just for Nintendo, and Nintendo says, hey, we don't have any space, Walmart is going back and saying, okay, well, because of this crazy situation that no one ever knew about, and it's never happened before in the history of our planet, we're going to start to put other stuff there because you can't get us stuff for Christmas. Both companies can agree to that because neither want to piss each other off. Those are some of the things that I know are happening.
So in a way, this whole crisis might be a blessing and give you some chance to sneak into a couple of shelf spaces.
No, we had stuff. We've had stuff for over I don't want to say over a year. Let me get specific for you because I know you're into the specifics, and that's fine. We had about half our retailers last summer after E3, that's what E3 is for. We met with a lot of them there, and I'd say we had the other half probably by the end of this February, before all this craziness started.
All right, Lucas got another question.
Okay, Lucas, he's got some good ones.
He says, with all the manufacturing worries with consoles, is there still going to be physical media on launch?
Yep.
That was a simple one.
You usually don't get one-word answers from me, do you?
No, I think everybody's in shock.
I could go on, but I can't tell you about it. That's what stopped. We're going to be announcing that stuff probably June or July is when we're going to be making a big announcement about physical media and stuff and what we have.
Okay, I got another question from that was sent in to me. They want to know about Echo the Dolphin.
Pronounced Echo the Dolphin?
Echo, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Echo the Dolphin, is it an official game? Are you in talks?
Well, I'm being honest. What do you want me to lie to you?
No.
Yes or no? The honest answer is I can't. Now, here's what I will tell you. I can tell you that the guy who created the game is Ed Annunziata.
Right. And I can tell you got into a lawsuit.
Him and his studio has been confirmed as creating games on the Amico. I can also tell you that in 2 of our trailers now, we have had a 4-player Dolphin game.
Right.
That's all I can tell you for now.
And I know that Ed had got into a little bit of a lawsuit issue with Sega, and there was never any word after it was all said and done. No one came out and said, "Hey, we own it," or "Hey, Ed owns it," or.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Very interesting, Tony.
That's why I'm asking. Maybe you're in talks.
You remember that? We got the iMagic games when no one else could.
And speaking of that Dolphin game,
Dracula, Ice Trek,
right.
Demon Attack. No one else could get those games. Well, we found.
Since it's just the Dolphin game at this point, I was wondering when you talk about certain features of the Amico, certain games like the Dolphin game, you kind of make it seem like this is something new. Like each Dolphin having a different ability is something unique. It's never been done before.
Yep.
but it has been done before.
On a dolphin game? Tell me.
See, now you were going real specific on a dolphin game. No, but you have.
Oh, that's what I mean. There's never been a 4-player underwater dolphin game where each dolphin had a specific, a specific thing. One's a small one, you get into space. One has better sonar. One has better speed, and one has better strength. If you can name me a dolphin game that was like that, then tell me what it is.
I can't name you a dolphin game like that, but I can name you other games.
Well, there you go. But then my statement was true. You can't get me, Tony.
I'm not trying to get you. What I'm saying is like.
Oh, you're trying to get me. Come on now.
No, if I was trying to get you, I'd be quoting stuff that you said, and I'm just saying the way you presented. Maybe it's just me watching what you say, hearing what you say.
I think honestly, can I be honest?
Yeah, you can always.
You. No, I think maybe it's just you. Honestly, because the average person looks at that dolphin game and goes, "Oh my God, that's so cool." You're looking at that dolphin game going, "What did he say? That son of a gun." I'm just making an observation, friendly observation.
No, I was just going off.
I think it might be you though.
I was going off of the interview you did with Joe, where you had mentioned that this is a unique feature of the dolphin game was the different abilities of each dolphin, and being a gamer. In my mind, I was like, oh, they did that on the Lost Vikings. Each person had a different ability. You could.
Of course, yeah. No, I would never say anything as asinine. 30 years, I've played more video games than any human on the planet. Through my TV show, we reviewed games for 12 years, multiple games on every system. So I've played a lot of games in my lifetime. I worked on more games than anyone else in the planet Earth. Own the Guinness World Record for it. I'm very proud of it. Over 350 games at this point. So yeah, I think I know a little bit about this subject matter than probably the average person on the street.
And I haven't worked on as many games as you have, but I just know a lot. So when I hear you make certain statements, it just triggers. Oh, that they did that on this game. Oh, that system can do this.
But I never said that. So don't think of things I say. You have to break it down before you, like you said, get triggered. That was your word you just used, not mine. So before you get triggered, ask yourself, back up and go, okay, what did he exactly say there? He said that there hasn't been a dolphin game that has 4, players, blah, blah, blah. Because I would never be so stupid to think or to try to pull the wool over somebody's eyes to say, oh, this is the first game ever that has different play. I'm not an idiot. I'm not stupid. I'm not some used car salesman as much as idiots like Sneaky V and backwards Tommy Tallarico want to think I am. So anyway.
Lucas got a follow-up. He wants to know, is it truly media? What I mean is it something that I could reuse, or is it strictly a download key? I'm guessing as far as the physical media.
You can reuse it. We're gonna be announcing what it is in the summertime.
And to piggyback off of his question, is it going to be something like physical media on old systems where I can take it to someone else's house, use it on his system, leave it there, he could use it, play it, or is it going to be locked on the first system that you use it on?
We let me see how to answer that. Yes, in a way. Yes, that is possible. I'll answer it like that.
So then it would be possible for, say, like to sell a used Amico game, physical media.
It would be difficult, but you could. There would be a way to do it. But you see, Tony, the difference is, I think, here, like, you're talking games that are $2.99 to $9.99. Somebody buy $99 and then play it for 3 months and then put it up on eBay and go, hey, does anyone want to buy this for $2.99? And then you got to get it shipped to you. No, come on, people are just gonna, these are smaller games, so it's I think it's a different thing than what people are used to. But I can tell you, Tony, that we believe in sharing, and we believe in getting people access to games before they, purchase them and stuff like that. So, that's our whole thing. So we're very different than some things out there, So it all makes sense in time, but it's coming in about 2 months because we still got some patent pending and we're still doing some big deals with folks. So it'll all be available to you in the summer.
All right, let me ask you about the Beauty and the Beast game. Is there any problems with the name?
Hold on. I first want to make douche. Tommy's cracking under pressure now. Pressure from people in the chat room. No, I just have fun at your expense. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
The Beauty and the Beast. But I believe that what was it? iMagic, one of those games.
Yes. Oh yeah, I forgot on that. I forgot. Yes.
Is it? Are you still able to use the same name, or has Disney taken that copyright, trademark, whatever?
We haven't. I don't know the answer to that. We haven't started down that path. We haven't started making Beauty and the Beast yet. But I mean, we have. That's a tricky one because I can't say why. It's a little bit of a tricky question. And the reason I can't say why is because if I said the reason why, then haters out there will try to use it against me and blah, 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 blah. But I don't know the answer to that question. That might be the case. If Disney has registered the trademark to Beauty and the Beast on video game platforms, then we would have to change the name. That's all. But, you could easily change the name. I could call it Bart's Revenge. Whatever.
I think that name has already been trademarked.
What's that? What Bart's Revenge is?
Yeah, I think that was a Super Nintendo.
Okay.
No, that was Bart's Nightmare. No, you might be able to get Bart's Revenge.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I just love triggering sneaky. Here's a guy that on a Saturday night is listening to somebody he hates. And it's like a train wreck. He can't keep he can't stop listening to me. He's so enthralled, and he's got to spew his negativity. I love this. This is so awesome. I'm living in his head rent free. That's the saying?
That is the expression.
I just find it interesting, these people, like let's say I don't like a specific actor or a specific band. I just can't get into those kind of people's head where they go specifically out of their way. They leave their family and friends to sit on a computer on a Saturday night to just throw shade and hatred to somebody they've never met or don't know. Or it's just kind of wow. I just don't. It's not the type of person I am, so I don't understand that kind of mindset. But anyway, let's move on. He's not worth spending time on.
I think that's everything I got.
Damn it!
Yeah, I mean the only other thing that people want to know is what's up with Dynablasters.
Dynablasters. Oh, see, you've been reading all independent Amico threads. I thought you got banned. You're not supposed to be on there. I'm just kidding.
I did get banned, but don't worry. If you got
your ways, right?
You just log out. You just got to log out. That's all.
Exactly. That's exactly. All banning means is you can't say a comment, but you can still read it. Yeah. So sorry. Answer me the question again, because this was a big point of contention the last couple days. We made somebody angry because we're not doing Bomberman. So what's the question?
The question is Dynablaster an actual well-known name associated with a game that was not a Bomberman game?
In Germany it is, sure.
No, but see that I think that's where the contention is. In Germany, when you say Dynablaster to someone in Germany, are they thinking of the new game that came out, or are they thinking of the original Bomberman games?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them. All I know is it's a well-known game in Germany. But again, who cares? I might not even call it that. It's just the developers who did Dynablasters is working on a game for us. That's that style of genre game. I don't see the problem. I don't see the rub that guy had or that anyone would have. Who cares?
I think the issue is that if you use the name Dynablaster, you're kind of piggybacking off of something that was already established, but you're not the same thing. That'd be like if I called my band the Tommy Tallaricos. I'm trying to get famous off of your name that I didn't create. I think that's the point.
So what are you saying? That I'm trying to sell Amicos because we have a game called Dynablasters, or that we're not naming it Dynablasters? I don't understand.
I think they were trying to say that you were trying to sell that particular game off of the legacy of Bomberman.
No, I wasn't. That's stupid for anyone to think that. That is an unintelligent argument. That's dumb. Because what mom would know the name Dynablasters or Bomberman? That's just a stupid argument. Sneaky's all getting. See, I think he's tired. He wants to wrap this up. He's got other stuff to hate on tonight. Oh, there you go. I love to see the kind of intelligence level we're dealing with. As lots of moms know Bomberman, dude. Oh, do they? Oh, okay. What else? Anything else? Or I mean, it's a good interview.
I think that's it. That's unless the chat has anything to ask you. I think that's it from me.
Okay. Well, there you go. I think we you didn't come across as a shill, and I question. So I think it was a success, wouldn't you say?
I would say so. People in the chat are saying that this wasn't an interview, this was a debate, but those might be individuals that don't like me anyway. So.
All right. So now, you know what you can do, Tony, because I see that you always answer. Not always. I exaggerate a little bit, but what I'm saying is I see you a lot on the PU podcast. Did I say that right? PU podcast? Oh,
no,
sorry.
I think that's wrong.
Yeah, you know what it's called. I see you, kind of in there, and you see that Pat and Ian always say that no one asks me hard questions, which is completely untrue. So now that we've done this interview, the next time you go in there, you can direct them to this link.
I don't even have to do that, guys. I don't even. I'll just go ahead. I'll send. I got Ian on Twitter. I'll go ahead and send the link to Ian directly. Don't worry about it.
Very cool. Good. Well, they might call you a shill, though. That's what they seem to do. So it'll be interesting to see how they react.
If they do, yeah. I mean, I got people in the chat already calling me a shill. So I don't really give a shit.
All right. See, me and you are more like. You don't give a shit what other people think. I'm saying the same thing, and people attack me for it. You can't be like that. You're a CEO. No, go screw yourself. I don't have to beg and grovel for your acceptance. Go screw yourself. If you don't like me, good. If you don't want to buy the machine, good. I don't care.
Lucas said he got one more question.
Yes, Lucas.
You don't want to
scroll up. I don't know. Tell me, Lucas. Just tell us what it is again.
I think it's something to do with vegan food.
Okay. I'll answer vegan questions.
Says, do you think artificially flavored foods or veggie burgers are vegetarians' way of saying meat is so good we need to imitate it? I've never seen anyone try to take a meat product and make it seem like a vegetable.
Yeah. Why would you want to do that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand the question.
I think he's saying is why would you want to imitate meat if you don't want meat?
Well, because people are compassionate in this world. Because people don't like the idea of murdering animals.
Right.
That can't fight for themselves. So some people in this world are compassionate like that, and I'm one of them. So if somebody wants to go after me because I'm compassionate, go ahead, make an ass out of yourself. Go ahead.
He says he was just being dumb.
Anyway, no, that's it. Look, it's a fair question, but I just think dumb question. But that's my is that, you know, some people like I'll tell you, I like the taste of hamburgers made in the USA, ketchup, mustard, pickles. You get a little nice soft sesame seed bun. I like that, but I don't like the idea of murdering somebody to get it. So if I can get it in a different way that tastes good, like when I grew up, great. You know, food is a very cultural thing too. Like if I was born in the Middle East, I probably might not even taste a hamburger. Or sorry, let me make a better one. India. In India, the cow is sacred. You don't see hamburger places on every corner in India. If I grew up in India, I probably wouldn't like the taste of hamburgers. I grew up in the United States. You know, I grew up on hamburgers. I like the taste. And so if I can, and I stopped eating them 12 years ago. And if there's an alternative for me, because I like that taste, because that's what I was raised on. If there's an alternative where I don't have to, you know, feel personal guilt to murder something because I have compassion, okay, so why shouldn't I be able to have that? You know, I think that's a fair answer, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and it actually triggered a question that, you know, from me. So,
okay.
If the Amico ever would have a cooking game, would you actually include cooking meat, or would that be just not?
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm not. Again, I'm, you know, some like massive evangelist, this and that. I mean, if I could avoid it, I'd prefer to. But you know, I'm trying to think. Like we have some learning games for kids, and a lot of it is vegetables. But there is some meat things in there. Yeah, so you know, I'm not some, you know, animal activist lunatic, like, you know, that kind of thing. But I'd like to try to avoid it if I could. But not at the you know. I mean, look, I'm a very different type of person. I'm a guy who doesn't like to step on ants. I'll avoid ants. I'll avoid, if I see a spider in my house, I run over. And my wife's the same way. She's the most compassionate person I've ever met. And we'll take a spider and we'll put it in a cup. It might take us 10 minutes. Oh no, don't hurt his foot. Okay, boom, boom, boom. And then we lay it outside. You know, that's the type of people we are. And so, you know, we might be a little different and out of the norm. But again, we prefer compassion over, you know, we just live and let live, I guess. No matter what brain wave you're on, or if you have 2 feet or 8 legs, it doesn't matter to us. Live and let live.
Let's see. The chat says, I have a question. As someone who's been in the gaming industry as long as you have, do you have a contingency plan in place for the uncertain future we are on track for?
Yeah, you know, no one knows what the outcome of this Corona thing is going to be, right? I mean, again, I hope and pray that this thing's over by the end of the month. Some people are saying that if everyone stays inside, we could be over in 30 days. Some people say it could be 60 days, and God forbid it's longer, because it's going to, you know, really, you know, crash our economy. If it's longer than 2 months, it's going to be a different world altogether. So it's a hard question for me to answer because I don't know what the future holds. But do we have contingency plans? Absolutely, we do. But you can only have so many contingency plans, right? I mean, what if everything shuts down? What if so you don't even know, right? So
right.
It's, you know, again, we hope for the best. And here's the thing, Tony. You know, our team is very resilient folks. And that's why it was so important for me to grab the most talented people from around the industry to put on our team, because every person that we hire in there, you know that we have this amazing, challenging road. And forget coronavirus for a second, just the fact about put out a brand new video game machine, right? We know this is going to be so challenging, and there's going to be so many potholes and barriers in our way. But you know what? We all have super positive mental attitudes, and we know, you know what? We don't even know what's going to be thrown our way. But we're traveling down this path because we want to bring something good to the world. And we want to bring people together. That's our mission, right? And so when we go down this path, and there might be a brick wall that pops up that we had no idea about, but our team is so positive, and so resilient and so experienced that we say, you know what, there's going to be barriers in the way, but we have the confidence we're going to dig under it. We're going to go climb over it. We're going to get around it, or we're going to smash right the hell through it. Whatever it is, we're going to get to that other side. So we don't know what the future is going to throw, but what we do know is that we have a really amazing team that really bands together in the foxholes. I wouldn't want any other people than what we have. So we're positive. We're staying positive, and we hope for the best, and anything that gets thrown at us, we'll take it as it comes. And we've had to do that now with Corona. No one would have expected this 2 years ago when we started getting investors involved. And who the hell would have thought this, right? No one would ever have put that in a spreadsheet. But here we are, and we're working around it. And we're feeling good and confident. And hopefully people can root for us instead of trying to destroy us, you know?
You should have asked me in December, because I would have told you this was coming, Tommy. I saw it from a mile away.
Oh yeah, I was in China in December. Shit, me and what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of our team. We were all in China in about 2 weeks before Christmas. But you saw it. That's good. That's crazy.
Dorkalicious wants to know something. I seen a question. She wants to know, will you do a funny promo video for the Amico with the Mega 64 guys?
Oh, I'd love to. I love those guys. Do you know who they are, Tony?
No, I don't.
Oh, they're really funny. You should, if you want to kind of, I mean, it's silly humor. Sometimes it's, but they got some really funny stuff. And we did a thing about, oh gosh, I don't know when the first one we did. It was probably 10 years ago. And they were called Gamer Wars, and we're making fun. And it kind of stuff we're talking about here tonight. But the whole premise was we were making fun about how hardcore gamers only like their machines, and they make fun of all the other ones. So we called it Gamer Wars, and it's just silly, awkward videos that those guys make. And anyway, but yeah, I'd love to do a serious video with those guys. In fact, I think they did one for like Hideo Kojima and Metal Gear Solid. I think like they've been professionally hired by companies to do like ads and internet stuff. So yeah, I'd love to work with those guys. Really good guys.
Would you ever consider, if the Amico is a huge success, would you ever consider trying to buy the Atari VCS and actually getting that thing launched?
They need my help. I tell you, it'd be a hell of a story. Yeah, I would. You know what else? Do you know the video game system, Tony, called the Vectrex? Do you remember that one, or know of that one?
No, I've seen it mentioned on the Atari Age.
Yeah, I love Vectrex. It was this machine. I had one when I was a kid, but it was this machine that the screen, it was all that kind of XY vector graphics, and the screen was built in, and it came with controllers and stuff. And I loved that machine growing up. So that would be kind of a fun machine to bring back, would be, a full machine where, so you didn't have to hook it up to anything. It has the TV screen right there built into it, but it's all XY graphics and that vector graphic look. So that would kind of be fun. I'd probably do that before it's dark.
And what about scooping up Coleco? Because that was my system growing up.
That was yours?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, did you ever have the? Did you have the super? Was it the Super Action controller? Was that what it was called? The joystick on the top?
No, I just had the regular controllers. That, and we had the one for the kids games. I think it was like a.
Yeah. I think Wico made it, right? I love the sports game, the baseball and the football, and it had this little disc that you could spin to make them run faster, and you could control all the fielders with all 5 of your buttons because it was on a grip, and you had a really nice arcade-style joystick on the top. It was really cool. Did you have Rocky and Smurf? I had those.
Yeah, I had Rocky.
I love Rocky. How about Pit Stop? Did you have that game?
No.
I want to bring that one back.
If you want to bring something back, bring back Ladybug.
Ladybug's the good one. Who? I think that's owned by the same people who own Tutankhamun and Dig Dug, I think. So that might be, is that Warner Brothers? I'm not sure, but yeah, Ladybug is a good game. Coleco Joe hated the Super Action controller. See, me and Coleco Joe just don't get along. I'm convinced. He gives me crap over on Atari Age all the time. That's okay. That's okay. Even though I like Coleco, he didn't like the Super Action controller. You know what? Some people just don't like the same shit. That's all. Oh, okay, he's ball busting. Coleco Joe's ball busting. All right. Fair enough.
Well, I guess that really is it, unless the chat wants to come up with some more questions or
3 hours, Tony. We hit 3 hours. We should probably shut the.
I mean, unless you want to go for the record for the longest Tommy Tallarico interview.
I hope not. God, no. People say I talk too much already. What are they going to think about a 3 hour show? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
let's end it on a good note.
Well, then we'll cut this chat off. We'll end it. Thank you, Tommy, for showing up, answering everything, and that's all I got to say.
All right. I thank everyone for coming into the chat, both friend and foe. Thank you so much. And I'll see you online. I hope the next time we meet, it'll be friendly.
It'll be cordial.
All right. There you go.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.